We're live.
Yeah, live.
Gents, karibuni. How you guys doing?
All good. How are you?
Niaje?
Right, fit.
Mike?
Good, bro.
We're going to do a test. This is prime berry freeze. Do you know this Logan Paul guy?
Yes.
Majaribu. Have you guys had this before?
I've seen them, but I'm not trying them.
I've been told like this guy's a multi-million dollar industry. Let's see what it's worth.
But I'm eating a sweet, so I won't be able to tell how good it is.
Lisawa. Jaribu. Let's see if it's worth the hype.
You. Yata hapana. Yata siwezi piga sip ingine.
It's not good?
It's too sugary, but I'm trying to remember what it tastes like.
I know. This is horrible.
Exactly.
Vish, try it. Sugar free.
Sugar free.
I don't think so. Simaliza.
No, that one I can't. That one I can't.
Why don't you take a sip? Take a swig from this one.
Tastes like gum.
Yeah, true.
Yeah?
Oh, horrible.
Really?
It's
Horrible.
It's gum juice.
Jaribu, bro.
Horrible, bro.
Simba.
Crest.
Uh-uh.
Diluted crest.
Ali is just a hater.
Bro, me, this
Unajua Al ni
energy drinks,
mzungu bana.
energy drinks bana hapana.
Yeah, it's a bit.
For you to impress Al,
They're
And
okay.
once ndo unakula spices bana.
Try this out.
no, sasa si unajua you umekuwa majuu, you tasted so many things.
Hai hapana.
So,
Bro, mi hata
well-traveled
hata-
man, eh?
hata nikiwa majuni mi nakunywanga tu maji ni. Sinanga story nini. Me still cook Kenyan food bana.
Yes.
Well, welcome to the new studio, guys.
Thank you.
What do you think of this place?
Amazing.
Vish has done a good job.
Vish,
He
thank
should
you.
be in the camera too. Watu wajue Vish ni nani.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, we put Vish's picture over here.
Yes.
But the story I was telling you guys before we went live was for the Prado that we bought. And it actually was during his podcast. There's the QSJ number that you normally scan to tell you what a car has in terms of mileage when it comes straight from Japan.
Yeah.
So at the time, we didn't know that. So when we bought the car, we were saying around 45,000 kilometers. We used it for a few years. And it was Prado 150. And then when we were looking to sell, some Jama came and told us, boss, the QSJ is saying 86,000 kilometers.
Whoa.
And this car showroom, we confronted them and we asked them, boss, what the hell is this? We didn't know about this. And not a lot of people did that. So that QSJ clip that we did,
Yeah.
ilitusaidia. But you get a lot of guys that you feel go through this as well in your line of work.
Yeah, but now like for us, we source directly from Japan, so we might not have such a scenario happening. So, but any customer that is getting a unit either from a dealership here, there's a possibility if they cannot do a well due diligence on the car, there's a possibility they might end up being in such a scenario.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happened to you guys, and that's why even people actually are doing pre-purchase inspections, other than checking the rust, if the temps are okay on the car, blah blah blah. They are also going to QSJ
To do that stuff. What about you, Kaka? Have you seen guys that have gone through that? I think you did a video once on it, right?
Yeah, I did a video on that, and partly because people have gone through that. I mean, the stories are so many. The stories are horrible out there.
Yeah.
But the reality is, even there are people who I know, even if the mileage is bad, majority of the people, Mike, price comes first.
Yes.
This comes first.
The rest, and that's why the reason I say why even dealers are inclined to do these kind of things. I'm not saying it's an excuse for them. It's the kind of market they are into is a market that is into price, while at the same time I really want a low mileage car.
Yes, the quality one.
The quality
Don't
one.
care what you have to do, just get me that.
Yes, just fix everything.
Just fix
But
everything.
it's our culture. We want things cheap.
Yes.
And we don't expect to pay for it. But in the back end, this is sort of happened, yeah?
Yeah.
What's happening, family? We've got another sponsor, MOFIT Supplements. Let's hear it out for them. We've got the whey protein, 24 grams of protein per serving. I love the strawberry flavor. We've got the pancake mix, quick and easy. Use it with water, use it with milk. Fantastic. Creatine, I use 5 grams a day. And fat burner. They have a lot more. They've got a muscle gainer. They've got a pre-workout. They've got shakers. Do check them out. They've shown us some love. I want you guys to show them some love. MOFIT Supplements. Guys, you know I love coffee a lot. I literally named my podcast the Coffee Pump Podcast. So with a caffeinated podcast, you need a caffeinated partner. And I'm happy to say that Connect Coffee has come on board as the official sponsor on the Coffee Pump Podcast. This is everything they have. My personal favorite is the Romeo blend. I first had this in 2016. Actually had my first business meeting at the Chiromo campus where we're shooting at today. They've shown us love. I'd like for you to show them some love as well. We'll link everything in the description of the video. Do check them out. Best coffee in Kenya, hands down. But before we move on to cars, guys, how have you been? It's been an interesting week in Kenya.
Yes.
Maybe start with that. You tell me, how's your week been? What's been going on?
Oh, man. You shouldn't give us sweets when you start this one. Just things are confusing.
And they are too good. When you chew it, I'll tell you about my week.
Tell us about your week, man.
Sasa, in the tech space, what we can say is Wednesday was quite interesting for the nation.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all knew what happened. What I was surprised was the internet was throttled. And we were talking about this.
Yes.
Which was a huge hit to the freedom of speech,
Yes.
freedom of communication act.
Yeah.
I think Telegram from some aspects was blocked.
Yes.
That was a big shock to me.
Oh, yes.
Media was told not to do anything in terms of publicize this movement.
The demos.
So that was a big shock to me. And the big players, we don't need to name them over here. We all know the phone guys.
Yes.
Basically, what it made me realize is they're running a cartel.
Yes.
And they're curbing freedom of speech. So that was a huge shock and a huge disappointment to me.
I mean, we've come too far.
That's why I'm an advocate for folks like SpaceX and Elon in particular, because he's trying to create this app. And what I've heard rumors of the X platform is eventually going to be a multifaceted app.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
You can make calls on it.
Okay.
You can use, imagine this, you don't need to travel.
Like a WhatsApp.
Exactly. So imagine you open up X. You can have a Starlink subscription in the Sahara Desert.
Yes.
And X will connect to Starlink.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you pay maybe your $25 a month. You can make calls. You can message anyone. You don't need a phone subscription. You can be in Dubai. As long as you have Starlink access over there, you can be on a plane. As long as the plane has Starlink access, you can access through your phone.
Wow.
And then eventually money to app transfer. So you can transfer Bitcoin, you can transfer money. So it becomes an entity that can bypass any legislation. So imagine the power that X will have.
That means you don't need, for example, you don't need Safaricom to do your transactions.
Yes.
Even to shop. So
Yeah.
if you are able to pay with X,
Everything is sorted out.
X in
Yeah.
the point of sale.
Yeah. And it's done. But
It's done.
But the flip side is, imagine if he does that, the power we give him. That one man.
Yeah.
But I think he's already done that with PayPal before.
Yes.
And he had quite a lot of power because before we had, before M-Pesa, before online payments,
Yes.
PayPal was the only way for people to do business. Like if you are getting paid from the US and you're working from Kenya,
PayPal.
You need to have
PayPal was the quickest way.
But even though media was curbing, have you noticed everyone was on Twitter?
Yes.
Twitter
Twitter was
the new news channel. Yeah.
Even some apart from Twitter, there were like some channels, private channels, which was streaming the demos.
TikTok did a good job.
Yeah.
Yes, TikTok also did a good job. People are live, like he's saying.
Yeah.
People are live, and you could actually watch from home everything that was happening.
But how are things on your end? Because I saw you posted up some stuff. You actually went. You went over there.
We actually went to the ground. We didn't go to the heat of the moment because at the same time, safety is a big concern. So I had someone who was inside, and I asked them, "How is it?" And he said, no point of you coming inside because things were already starting to get.
It's a risk at that point.
Get a bit hot. So what we did is we were in a safer place. We practiced our rights.
Yes.
No, but the most important thing.
Safely.
I think that the fact that you went there says a lot, And yesterday I did a podcast I was telling you guys offline.
Yes.
Madung Odang, he's a famous journalist that works with John Alanamu, and he was in the heat of things. Jamal Nyambia, apparently 16 people were killed.
More than. Actually, the numbers that people are saying, the real numbers, apart from the ones reported on media, is around 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you
count, like, I think Juja, there were like 3 Karatina, I heard about there are a couple of numbers. So of course not all numbers will be reported, and maybe they're not going to come to mainstream media, but a good number is around 40-50. Which actually is worse than last year, because last year was organic, and the goal was to demo that now. Getting goons, blah blah blah.
Yes, we didn't even, the term goon was
yeah.
But do you guys feel this movement did anything positive? Because I come at it from this perspective, is I felt it's just going to fall on deaf ears, man. Like we've done this, lives have been lost, we've put in so much effort, people have literally died for this movement, but does anything change? I don't know what you guys' perspective on is, but I just feel very, it's like, what's the point?
It gets to a point where you obviously lose that hope once you see that, the results are always the same. There is obviously people trying to practice their rights, then it ends up in violence and death. No one wants that at the end of the day.
I personally also think that I don't see that the government can listen to demonstrating Kenyans, because I think right now what the government is doing, they're thinking that if you're going on a demo, you're either a goon or you want to maybe loot someone's shop. So they're not looking at it from a point of it's your right. They're saying if you're demoing, you're either going to be shot. So the only way, if it's good to demo, but it's not also good for people to lose their lives. So I think the only way for people to see if they can have a change in the regime is, of course, to go to elections. But again, people are saying in the elections, we know what happens.
But the reason I wanted you two gents here is we've both done podcasts independently, which you guys should check out. We'll link them in the description. But when it comes to cars, subject matter experts is you two. And both of you sit at very different sides of the fence. Earl does a lot of luxury cars. He does a lot of content.
He does luxury cars as well.
Okay, so maybe let's define it this way. Both of you are in the same seat. You do vast arrays of cars. I've seen crazy pictures on your end. Same as you. You help a lot of people with the import-export aspect. There are a lot of stuff. There's a lot of rules and regulations coming about. There's a lot of frustration that has led people up to this point, specifically around the car sector. Now, I'm not sure what's going on, but I know you are fully aware of everything that's coming in from the new month. Earl is a subject matter expert, so he has opinions on this, and I wanted to discuss that at length. What's going on? What are we expecting, Sasa, from your side of things? The business, how's it looking?
Okay, let me say, I think from the time the last time I came at the podcast, I think we had talked about the way KRA structures the taxes and the way they give rulings. I think I mentioned how people KRA gives rulings to importers. So assuming a car is not direct on the CRSP, they can just give a value based on, of course, either they check the values on GUNET or they check the values on maybe the local dealer. So right now, what they did, they introduced a new CRSP, which is for the benefit of the way is the current retail selling price, which are values for cars if they were new. But now, because we buy used cars, we depreciate those cars based on the age of the car and the CC of the car. Because now there is a CRSP, and then there are templates that we use depending on the engine size of the car. So if your car is under 15, there is a template for under 1500 cc. If it's over 2000, if it's over 2500 diesel. So there are different templates capturing the CC of your car, depending on
the year and make.
So based on that, they've introduced a template and now a CRSP, which has about I think 7,000 models on all the cars, which is a good thing. Because there are a couple of cars which, of course, if you bring a specific car, you don't need to worry, because sometimes
it's there, it's listed,
already
now.
Listed.
Okay.
But now the bad thing about it is that many cars have already been hit negatively, especially the high-ends. All Germans pretty much hit, apart from, of course, the French ones like Peugeot, Renault, and things like VW. Those ones somehow have not been hit so much. The duties have gone lower, but a majority of the cars there and high-end ones, the German ones have been hit. So, of course, this thing came as it started as a rumor sometime around end of April. Then May, now they released the first letter saying a CRSP is going to come. Then it came now around end of May.
Okay.
Now they gave us a window of 1 month to say that this thing is going to take effect. Not considering that there are already guys that have already bought cars based on the current CRSP.
True.
And I think Al has been a casualty in many of his cars.
Tell us more. What's your opinion of this? Like, what do you think has happened?
I mean, just like Mike is saying, it's most people are caught off guard with this, and it's not even the first time. I think he will mention the rulings that they normally have, maybe two or so per year. And what happens is that you buy a car knowing that this is what you're going to pay. Then the car comes. And you realize that the price could be even double.
The duties have changed.
Yes, everything has changed.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating in the sense that if there's someone who's worked years upon years saving to make an investment to buy their first car,
yes,
and then they've budgeted maybe 1.5, and then all of a sudden they figure.
That's the saddest thing. And while it may be okay for private people, someone like Mike who probably ordered for a client, that becomes difficult.
Yes.
Because the client probably doesn't have money to add.
Pocket change or spare money.
You've had clients that have said, okay, Anna, this is a bit too much. I need more time.
Yeah. Normally, what happens, it's not the first time we're having actually a new set of CRSP. I think when I came to the podcast last time, I mentioned that just before COVID,
yes,
there is a CRSP that came in June 2020.
Yes. Yeah.
So that COVID period was there were clients who were buying cars from Singapore,
right?
And if I think most of you can remember, Singapore had like the fully spec'd cars that you could get out there. So you could find an Alphard that has, back then there were no Velfires or Alphards with double sunroof like the way Japan has right now. I think you reviewed one recently.
Yes.
So that car was like a Velfire or an Alphard with a double or a triple sunroof. Was very luxurious. So guys were getting those cars, clients were getting those cars for around $8,000, $7,000.
That's quite good.
That's quite
coming here, now you buy a car in April, the same thing happening right now. Then around, because of course it takes a while to get the ships, so you come here, you find the vessel has taken like at least 2 months, and you get caught with these new duties. So the CRSP for a Velfire came from 5.5 to almost 13 million.
Fuck off. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So I remember that client was a lady from Nyamakima. So she does Mtumba Bale. So she wanted a spacious van. So we had quoted a duty of 700,000. Then the duty went to 1.7. So she had to add about $1 million thereabout. And I had to take that client to care. We went to 10th floor, trying to explain to the guys at valuation. What those guys tell you, they tell you, you didn't tell the client, you didn't advise.
They actually throw the ball on your side.
You're not a professional, you didn't know, blah, blah, blah. So they normally say they've done public participation. But of course, the people who they do the public participation with is either these old guys, I don't want to mention the association, that are in that association.
Yes.
And they get those updates from KRA, and they get told there's a new CRSP that will come. So in that sense, because this market has become really big right now, there are so many people, even some of them I don't know, and they follow me and they tell me, by there I normally see your work, and sometimes I even quote a client from your page because I normally try to edge. But now when I have a serious client, I can call you and tell you, how did you arrive at this figure? Because the market is big right now. There are many brokers, there are many dealers coming up. There are no jobs, so people are trying to employ themselves so that they can do these jobs. So you find they don't put everyone under one umbrella. They just handpick a few people who they feel they represent the bigger market. So all of us, we get caught off guard. You find you have cars that, it's not the first time. Even there is an X5M, the one that I was selling you. That client, I think, added 1.3 when the car got here. Because we had quoted the client a duty of 1.9. Then it went to over 3 mic when the car got here.
If there's ever a biography on Kenya, it will be Kenya 101 ways to screw your citizens. Because every sector that I'm seeing just has something being introduced.
Yes.
I remember there was a video you posted of what you think the car guys should do. Like you should tax older cars a lot more.
Yes.
Can we talk about that? Like, what was the thought process behind that? Maybe we can speak about what you were thinking with that.
I mean, it's basically regarding the same thing that he's speaking about, because my understanding is that we are a used car market. We are actually very behind in terms of cars. We buy used cars. There is nothing to brag. There's nothing to write home about that. We buy 8-year-old, German cars, and
we charge as much as a new car.
As much as a new car. That means there's nothing. We shouldn't even be reporting about that because it's not a good thing. As a country that is developing, I would say we are developing
and
nation.
Considered the first in EA.
Yes, and us actually considered the first in East Africa. We should be leading the way. We should be able to either have and that's why I said cars that are not sold here, that cannot be manufactured here, they should be allowed as imports. Because you cannot manufacture them. For example, if I say I want a GT3 RS, you cannot manufacture it here. Stop kidding yourself. Some of these rules are just backward.
Correct.
If we have a car, let's say like a Jetua is a Chinese brand which is upcoming, and I feel like they are going to overthrow the CX-5s and the light.
Really?
Yes, it's a very good car. Just one the other. Jetua. The brand is in Kenya now. They use the dealer. Actually, the dealer that's doing them ditched Honda. They used to do Honda. So they just ditched Honda and now they're doing Jetua because of that. So it's a Chinese car. And if I'm a normal person, I'm not a car person, I would definitely go for that. And
really?
They'll start assembling those cars here. The interior is so good. It has a full panoramic roof. If I put side-to-side CX-5, I use CX-5 for 4 million now with the new CS, with the new CS, with the new pricing now. They put a new CX-5 and the Jetua next to side to side. Jetua is a 4.5 or 5 million around there. 4.5 as well,
Yeah.
But this is brand new. This is brand new with 3 years or 100,000 kilometers warranty.
Yeah.
Then on this side, I have a
Amtumba.
Yeah, that's the perfect name.
Yeah.
You have Amtumba CX-5 with a sunroof.
Yes.
But the Jetua has a panel roof. The Jetua, I can literally control almost all functions by voice activation. So voice command basically. So I can open the windows, I can open the sunroof, I can close the panel shade.
Insane.
I can increase the volume, I can post the music, I can call my nanny, I can do whatever. Mike, you've sold some high-end CS5s. I don't think there's one that does that. And you see, the thing is, people are forgetting that these Chinese cars, it's not. China has a name of having fake things,
but surprisingly they're so good.
These Chinese cars are coming up at a level and that's the exact same thing I was trying to bring in that point, that we can actually sell new cars here. For a normal person who is not chasing power, who is not chasing a supercar,
just want a daily.
I just want a daily. That car is good.
It makes sense for that.
But that does not mean that I have to be subjected to the same rules.
Yes.
I don't want that car because I'm a car guy. I want a powerful car. And if you cannot manufacture it here, allow me to import it without punishing me.
Correct. So let me ask you, gents. So those cars that come, obviously we don't get brand new, we get secondhand.
Yeah.
From Kenya, where do the secondhand cars go?
What do you
like? Let's say we use them, we abuse them. Because those cars are two-part over here. Where do we two-part our cars?
We don't.
we just like recondition it. Maybe do some light paint. Take the dents off, and just take it to another market. So now you pass it to now.
So I want to know which is. So we get the Garcia stock. So which market gets?
There is Garcia stock, which we actually call new. Now after it being local used, it goes to now. It's like a ladder.
Yes.
There is if you have money to import a new one, you have some. Like you can call yourself not so badly off.
Yes.
Now after you use it for like a couple of years, now you can pass it to now another person who wants to own it.
Okay.
Of course, at a much lower price.
Okay.
Depending on how you've used it. So it's that ladder.
But we don't have a system where maybe from Kenya we throw it off to another country.
No. Who will? There are people. There's a market for even Mkebe right now in Kenya.
Okay.
That's how badly off we are. Yeah. There's someone who can't afford a 250,000 car, so they'll afford 120,000 car. You want to know the condition of 120,000 car? You don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But there's a market for it because that's how we've been pushed. We've been cornered to such an extent that there are only few people who can afford a brand new car. By a brand new car, I'm not talking what Mike is saying foreign used. I'm talking about brand new, zero mileage.
Yes, zero
Very few people can afford. You remember the Mercedes I posted the other day from Sfao? That car is what, over 70 million shillings.
The G-Wag.
Yes, the G63. It's a 2025, over 70 million shillings. For comparison, with that money in a different country like Dubai, for example, you could buy an SF90 and keep change for a Lamborghini and keep change maybe for a GTR somewhere.
Miskia.
All those are new.
Although those are actually whether new or slightly used, depending on what. But those are supercars.
Those are solid cars, yeah.
That's
3 supercars for the price.
3-car garage with the same
maybe
money.
you'll have like $1,000 or $2,000
to fuel,
do service.
to do to fuel or do something. So, you can't. There are very few people who can afford that kind of money. The rest of us, we are in the middle. Like, we are only buying used cars. Mike, I don't know if he wants to reveal, he's bought a used performance car. I've bought a used performance car, but that is where we are. If right now I tell Mike, I want you to buy a brand new performance car right now from Japan, even if he has that money, he doesn't have the luxury to just spend that kind of money on a brand new performance car.
So, gents, what do we need to change? Because if we go down this road, I don't see, like your suggestion was,
yes,
older cars, tax more. Newer cars, brand new, tax less.
Yes.
Why is it so hard to do that shift? Is it? And I know there were some things you talked about. We're killing a local market, but I'm sure a new market will always prop up in that space. What could be the reason for us not doing this? What do you think? I mean, it's open to both of you. What do you think your perspectives are?
I think the way actually kudos to Ali, did a very
comprehensive
nice video.
Yeah, that was a very good video.
How the entity called KRA should actually arrive at taxes and how they should have newer cars taxed less vis-a-vis older cars.
Yes.
Actually, on that note, I think right now, if you look at the depreciation, the way it's from 65 for a 2018 all the way down to 10% for a 2024 car, you might be actually able to have some cars cheaper. Like, for example, an LC300 right now is cheaper to buy new.
Okay.
Because the CRSP is less.
It's less now.
But yes. a big chunk of cars, which of course the normal Kenyan is at, like normal daily drivers, normal cars which they can drive on. Those ones are the ones which like most people get 7 years, because that's actually what when you look at even the numbers that KPA reports for used cars every month, a big number is under 20k USD in terms of the CNF.
And those are the ones which have been increased now.
Yes,
they've increased quite.
So
more, yeah.
The thinking of the guy sitting at KRA is very different. They cannot look at it like that, because I think normally what I know with these government entities, they normally report the way the curve has been for all the years. They'll say, maybe the data for maybe like a 2018 or 20 whatever year, this is how much they collected, this is how much they... So if they do vice versa, it has to take a really sober commissioner.
Yes.
And to take that risk. Because, at the end of the day, KRA is like business.
Yes.
There are targets which the government gives, and sometimes the targets are not met. Apart from, of course, getting VAT from other things, chakula, nini. A big chunk of this money comes from cars. Let's be honest. So 65% for a car like what now? A car like with the previous duty, a car like LX 570, it was 4.6 million.
Yes.
So you can imagine guys getting like how many? Like 20, 30 per month.
Yeah.
That's good revenue for
That's
KRA.
good revenue.
Yes, that's good.
So that's not how they reason. Because if you ask me, right now, it's even cheaper to import an LX 600. I know you've reviewed so many AL.
Yes.
It's cheaper to import that car because the CRSP has gone lower than an LX 570 that is 8 years or 7 years.
True.
So the thinking that KRA has is they have to have a speculation of the target, and they have to at least get close to the target. If they don't get close to the target from cars, other things should be able to bridge the gap.
Bridge the gap.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time in the UK. What's their system like for car taxation? Is it much simpler?
I mean, it's quite simple.
Yeah.
There are no restrictions there. But then we can't, comparing a market like the UK to Kenya is quite different. Here we have people, the economy is quite different, to be honest. The average person in my level is buying totally different cars. I mean, if I was buying my cars in the UK, I would not be buying a used for the same amount of money. Say you spend on a used AMG, I would get a Porsche in the UK. I would get a GT4, you know. But comparing those two markets, it's quite different. You see, for them, they are making quite a lot on new car sales alone.
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot of new car sales alone. They have manufacturing plants. We have Land Rover in Solihull. We have a lot of manufacturing going on. Not just even the UK brands. Honda, for example. I'm not sure if the plant is still active, but there's a lot of manufacturing going on.
Right.
So they are a step ahead. Don't even go far. Go to South Africa.
Let's South Africa is a good comparison.
Is a good market. South Africa actually is probably the hardest country to export a car to.
Really?
Yes. They have closed their market. They will export, but not import. They have made sure that the local market is sufficient enough for people to buy brand new cars or used cars within. But if, let's say, for example, I was shocked the other day, there was a video going on in South Africa of a Golf R, the wagon, you know, there's an R hatchback and the wagon.
Yes.
And the reason it was trending is because people have spotted one. They never sold that in South Africa. So that meant someone imported that car. And it's a big flex because who dare import?
That's a lot of money.
A grey import in South Africa.
So how did it get?
No, he did import, which means he paid probably so much
money.
He paid more than someone who was going to VW showroom and buying a brand new Golf 8R. That's what it means.
If we were to compare pricing, let's say what's the latest Prado called, the box shape 250.
Yes.
If we were to compare buying one in South Africa versus Kenya, what are the price differences? Let's say we buy, and we're talking low mileage,
or even new,
in South Africa.
It depends. Honestly, what I normally see is that for people who are buying used, it makes a difference.
Yes.
For people who are buying new, you are at the mercy of KRA.
Yeah.
You could actually end up paying the same. I'm not sure if it's the same, but you could actually end up paying the same as Toyota Kenya.
Yes.
The only difference now will be the options.
Options, yeah.
But like I always say, when I brought my Jimny, I learned the hard way that they actually made the pricing.
I remember.
I think I paid one of the highest taxes on a Jimny. My friend brought in a TTRS and we paid the same duty.
Why?
Literally.
It's just someone I'm cutting.
Yes.
It's like someone just decided this is how much you're going to pay.
Yes, and this is what happened. I paid, then it came about that I paid less, so I have to add a penalty on top of that.
Yeah.
By the time they are done with you,
by the time you bring in your Jimny,
yes,
there were not too many. It was
most have been sold locally. It was a 2022. So when I brought mine, they actually made sure that I regret not buying locally. Unfortunately for me, I was going for the options, and Mike knows, he has shopped around for Jimnys. He knows the options we are talking about. The difference is huge.
So what options are we talking about in the specific?
The Japanese market gets all the good stuff, man.
Seriously?
All the good stuff. We are talking over, if you find a Jimny with heated seats, lane assists, cruise control in a manual car, that's quite a flex. Then
the headlight washers.
The headlight washers, full LEDs. You know, there are Jimnys that come with halogens till today.
The JL.
Yeah.
The JDM was so
All did, he just said Control A, select everything.
You always says if you're getting anything,
get
the best.
Get the best.
Don't cut
short. And that's why I even came to know about Mike, because if you look at the cars he brings are also, full specs, and he has found that market for clients. I don't think you can compare him with any other importer, because he's not.
That's why he's not a podcast.
He's not doing half.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, half-assed cars.
Yes.
And that is, if you have that kind of client, then they already know what they are after.
Correct.
If someone was asking me why I don't sell cars locally, and I told them it's quite a difficult market. I've told Mike many times, I don't know how you guys do it. I would go mad just having to fight about the KRA and about all that,
Yeah.
And even him, I know he has dedicated those tasks to someone else, but still it's quite.
Yeah, you have to dedicate someone who will be there.
Yes.
But you're always on standby
and to make sure everything is
smooth.
And I have never even blamed it on the clients. We were talking and we were saying you can spend even weeks or even months on a CX5. on one client. That's a lot of time. That is actually what, in other words, you call
So 1 month, and you're spending all that time on that
on a
car.
CX5. Yeah, I know people who have broker friends locally who will tell you that they're spending so much time on a car, and I tell them on most cars, for example, the cars I said, I will spend maybe a week. When someone comes, they want a GT3 RS, we will spend maximum a week between payment and everything, because they know what they want. And if I decide to spend a month on a CX5, I'm actually losing money than making money.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you value your time like a per hour rate, I mean, it doesn't make sense to spend that much
to be
time.
honest, I don't even blame the clients themselves. They are cornered to such a way that when you are ready to buy, but making that decision, you're paying so much money for a used car that it's not just a decision you can just wake up and say,
let's go.
Yeah. Mike will tell you, with clients for an LC300, it's probably quicker than client for a Fielder.
Actually, if you have a customer that is buying a car that is more than 5 million, and you see the transaction is going like longer than a week. A week by, I mean, I'm not saying every day we are talking, but you can have a conversation on WhatsApp, you send some quotes. But if you now see the customer changing to another model, now that's now where even
that's
myself,
when you know.
I say, oh, this one is monkey. We call it monkey
business.
So this one, there's nothing here. It's time to...
They're just wasting your time.
Because normally customers who... I was telling Al, a client actually DM'd me. I posted account Friday on my page. I was at the gym on Sato. I was even telling Madam, hey, there's someone actually telling me they need a quote on this car. That client paid on, I think, Tuesday.
Really?
Yes. And I was even telling him we need to meet for coffee. And this is like a 14, 15 month car.
Yes.
So between men and women, who are more decisive?
Of course, men.
Hey.
Of course, men. Actually, no pun intended, but no pun intended. But in most cases, lady customers, but it's no offense to them.
Yeah,
they really take. Not all lady customers look at cars as they want a full spec. They want a clean car. I'll give you a story. A relative of mine, there is a Harrier I've brought. It's actually it's actually in my house as we're talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That car we've been talking for like 3 years.
What?
Yes, 3 good years. That car we've gone from X-Trail, we've gone to Outlander. Then now the husband said, hey, this thing, we need to finish it.
Tumalize.
Tumalize.
Yes.
Look for a white car. I don't want a black car. We move. Now after we got a white car, the madam was like, hey, Sasa, why have you gotten a white car? Yet I don't like a white car. The story started changing. So you can, like you can see the way our ladies and our women can behave.
I understand.
Even I know for Al, even the cars that he sells, I don't know whether
is it the same for luxury cars?
A lady customer, if it is, it has to be from a royalty.
It depends. With ladies, especially for that caliber of cars, they are very specific.
Very specific
they know
what they want.
Yeah, they know their shit.
And like a man, I will convince a man quickly. I tell you, look, this is not the same red.
Yes.
But I can assure you the other options outweigh the options that you want.
Correct.
And a man will be like, you know what?
Let's go with it.
Give me the bill.
Yeah. Then sometimes, of course, depending, I know the cars that he sells, there's some cars which, of course, come with this interior, come maybe a 1 of 50.
Yes.
So depending on if the customer really also knows how rare the car is, and maybe the interior that the car has, even a customer, by them, have bought so many cars just by word of mouth, bila pesa. Very many customers. The customers repeat customers. That's customer that have sold 1, 2, 3.
You know the repetition.
A color comes up. There is a Q7 I sold, I think 2 years ago. It's a KDQ.
Yeah.
That client wanted a gray. The Daytona gray, I think.
Yes.
Pal effect something.
Yeah.
That car, we were looking for that car for like almost 2 years. He told me the money is ready, but I'm not giving you the money. Pata uniambie. Now when I got the car, he was not in the country.
Yeah.
I'm WhatsApping him. He's telling me, hey, I'm somewhere, sijui wapi. You proceed.
Really?
Yes. We proceeded. Then when he got to the Nini, he paid.
That's the best kind of customer, yeah?
Those kind of customers make work easier also. And also they refer similar clients, you know.
And then again, such customers, once they see that you took their word for it, they're the best clients. Because like these are really like businessmen. So businessmen sometimes they want to keep their word. So if they see you consider their word, they'll also like hold you dearly. If I can say that.
Yes.
I wanted to backtrack to the Jimny. How's your experience been so far? Because when I first saw the car, I was like, Yanni, budget SUV, budget 4x4. Oh, sell me on it, Al, because mad for breakfast, that's all I'm seeing you do.
I mean, it's a good car, but like I did in a video before, it's not a family car. That's the first mistake they do. Even when Mike called me and I told him, I hope you have a family car. He had a CX-5 at the moment. So I told him, we are good with that. You need at least an extra car to use. Because when it comes to space, it doesn't have space. And that's why they did the 4-door, which doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But people still buy them.
Yeah. The one from India.
Yeah, the one from India. They think it's a bigger car now, but that's not the reality. It's still the proportions are not right.
Yeah. Engine size is what? 1.3?
1.5. But now Japan, you get a 660 cc with a turbo.
660 cc?
Yes. I mean, the one I'm driving right now is a 660 cc Mitsubishi Pajero. So
the one you came with?
Yes.
Really? How is it off-road and everything?
No, I mean, the Pajero actually, I found it's more capable than the Jimny.
Okay.
I mean, I've done so many videos showing it. Mitsubishi did. They knew what they were doing with off-roading. If I had the same height on the Pajero Mini as the Jimny, if I did, I'm on stock suspension on the Pajero Mini. If I did the same suspension as I have on the Jimny, it would completely eat the Jimny in off-roading. Now the difference comes with how long both of them can do that.
Yeah.
Really?
So now that's where the Jimny now comes on.
Okay. The Mitsubishi is a 4-speed.
It's a 4-speed auto. Automatic, by the way, for people who don't know, automatic is always going to be more capable off-roading than a manual car.
Really?
It's always going to be more.
Okay, maybe I don't know about the car. So I mean, I thought manual would be more easy because
you see, with especially I'm talking in regards to mudding now.
Yes.
With mudding, it's all about how you manage the torque to the wheels. And an automatic even a torque converter will always manage that better than your brain, than your legs, than everything. And that's why you see they will always tell you if you're in a manual car, first go to gear number 2, then floor it, but not always, because if the mud is thick, you need more power. Then there's no time to downshift there. If you downshift there, you've lost it. You've lost everything.
You're stuck.
Actually, so I've learned something new. Maybe a question for you both. If I'm looking for a budget off-roader, right, in the Kenyan market, what are your recommendations? The one that I can go and be posted on all stories.
Actually, I'm actually getting a Jimny. I already told him.
Yes.
No, I bought that time. I'd bought a Jimny, but I had it failed inspection, so I decided just to get an SQ5.
What do you mean it failed inspection?
Even ours failed.
Yeah, inspection in Japan is serious. It's not like.
So how does it fail? Like, is it because it has a dent or something?
In my case, it was the rear diff. The rear diff had a tiny leak. So with AMGs, if someone was, burnout happy, if they were doing a lot of burnouts, if they were stressing the rear, it's a rear wheel drive.
Yes.
Then you need to service it. My car was due in for a major service. So what happened is when we parked it for long, it never happened. And when we drove it to
inspection,
the port, something just happened and there was a very tiny leak. So they were like, the guys even at the port, they were like, we could just fix it and then we return it the next day and it will pass because it's not I told them, no, I don't know anyone who can do that. Please go. So they took it to Mercedes-Benz, and the reason why you find that not many people want to fix cars in Japan is because it's costly. I replaced a seal. It's a seal. It's basically you are replacing the old seals and putting new ones.
Yeah.
It cost me close to 200,000. If I did it here in Kenya, it's someone who knew it, I would probably have spent 25,000 max. Maybe the seal would cost me maybe 10K at most. Then the whole labor, maybe 15,000. Give or take. But now I didn't want to risk that. And for that, I had to pay dearly.
Okay. So did you have a similar experience?
Mine was, I think the previous owner was doing, had a fishing, the roads.
Yes.
So the holes, there were holes on the roof. Normally in auction, and this is a risk also the viewers need to know. Sometimes the angles of the photos in auction are never to your favor. And there is something that there is no return back policy in auction. Once you purchase,
that's it.
You can't say where, man. You told me this.
Sasa we noticed
the inspection is not there.
Yes, we noticed those holes. when the car got to the port. So my supplier was telling me, hey, by the way, we've noticed this car has holes. Then I don't know, he had put many holes, like from the front to the rear.
Just so they could put the fish hooks.
So he was telling me he's suspecting that he'd put like the rod holder.
Yes.
So maybe the guy was going for fishing. So it went for inspection, it didn't pass. So the closest thing to do, or the wisest thing to do, is to return it back to auction and sell it back to auction. And that's what I did.
Okay, but then
but for a loss, a small loss. Because again, normally, in Japan, there is what we call the auction history.
Yes.
So if there is a sold price, maybe you sold it at maybe 1.8. You have that sold price history is normally, I think for most auctions, is kept for like a month.
Right.
Not for Kenya.
And the VIN is still there.
Yes. So for you to try and sell it at even 20, 50, 100K more, you have to wait for a month. So I kept my car. So my guy told me, hey, Sasa, we take it. We took it. I took a loss of around 80K yen. Because we got a bid, but it was not sold. Then someone made an application. I think Al is familiar with that.
Yes.
You can apply, and then within a window of like 1 hour, someone says, this is my offer. Then he told me we take it.
Yes.
We take it, then we
so back though. Even my VAB, that's how I bought the Subaru.
Okay.
So no one was taking the car. Funny, the car was a grade 4.5.
Yeah.
Very clean car.
Which is quite...
quite good for a used car, but high mileage. It was at around 82 or 83 around there.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, no one was going for the car because people are obsessed with cars, including him. cars that are below 50,000, And I'm like, what's wrong with these guys? So I did the pictures, I did everything. We gave an offer. The guy didn't refuse. I think I bought not the Japan price.
Right.
My Jimny was more expensive in Japan than my VAB.
Of course, it has to be.
And when I took it, when it came, I was like, this was such a good deal because the car was so clean inside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only reason that these people are passing this car is because of the mileage.
Yes.
Okay. So then during auction, for example, in Japan, you're just shown the pictures.
Yes.
There's no one there to go and inspect the car and do all...
Two things. Normally, like there are two platforms. There is auction and there is one price.
Yes.
So mine, I bought it from one price, but it is a car that maybe is coming in auction on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But you see the price is really good. Let me buy. As soon as I bought it, I actually called Alan. I told him, by the way, I've seen a Jimny. It's an Ivory. Nimeichukua.
Yeah.
But I was very excited because it was really good.
Yeah.
But now it just burst my bubble after I noticed. So normally you can choose to wait for auction day for you to bid the car so that your exporter can go physically and inspect it.
Yeah.
So you can choose to say
so auction day you can send someone that you
before bidding.
Before
because inspection can only happen.
So this one you pull the trigger quickly then.
Yes, sir. Normally if because Japan is 6 hours ahead, if the auction is let's say 4 a.m. Kenya time, because that's when they start. If they tell you it's okay, you give them a green light, like we proceed. That's fine. So if there is anything, like there was an SQ5 I tried bidding, by the way.
Yes.
It had all the specs, but they had not written Bang & Olufsen.
Yes.
So I told my guy, hey, boo, try and see. But he was not understanding. I don't understand this job sometimes.
Yes.
I was telling him, Ebu, go and check the speakers if they have Bang & Olufsen. Then he's telling me, what is that? Is it a woofer or what?
Yes.
My God. You're an experienced exporter. You need to know these things.
Okay.
So when now he went, he saw like he didn't have. So I was like, and that's like 5 a.m. in the morning. Do we proceed and try? Then I'm like, okay, let's try.
That's a very big option to miss.
Yes.
Funny thing, that car sold so high. After I missed it. Then I ended up getting one with the one. So
yes.
And actually that car mileage was much high. It was around 60K. And mine is around 30-something.
Sometimes it's actually just someone who is desperate enough to pay. Even with a car that has less options than what is on the market.
Yeah.
So all on your specific cars that you sell, especially with the clients that you deal, how's that auditing process of the cars? Like, Yani, is it just pictures, Ama? You have guys going and checking every single detail, tires? Because if you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a car.
In our case, it's because it's brand new cars.
Yeah.
So the car is coming from the factory to the dealership. the only thing that's happening is the PDI, which is pre-delivery inspection. And they just check that the car is good, because people assume that if a car is coming from the factory, it's 100%. But in most, especially with the high-end cars, with big engine cars, if you're talking over V12, sometimes things can go wrong. Maybe the car can't even fire up, and something just went wrong along there because it was packed, put on a train or put on a whatever they use it, and brought to the dealership. It's still wrapped, it's still done what. So they need to unwrap it and make sure that everything is working, because once it's brought to the showroom, that's it. They've taken delivery now. And there's no turning back.
Liabilities now.
Yes. Because when it's at the back, they can actually, call a technician, ask what's going on. Can we do this and this and this?
Yes.
But once you bring it to the front, then that's it. You'd have to schedule it going back, and the client will be mad.
So tell me about any recent cars you've sold. Name drop a few nice cars for us.
I mean, there are quite a few. We just completed on our 599 GTO. It's a very rare car actually.
Which country?
That's going to Canada. So Canada has you see how the US has a 25-year.
Yeah.
So Canada has a 15-year-old road. So that means now we can actually sell them. This car is a 2011, but manufactured in 2010. So that means it's 15 years old, effectively.
So you look at the registration or manufacture?
The manufacture. Okay. And that's how we are supposed to look. The registration should not matter, because there are people who buy cars brand new and they don't register them.
Yeah.
For the registration document is empty. That means 15 years later, if I want to sell this car to Mike will be the first owner. And that's a big flex on such cars. Because if a car is 2-3 owners, also affects the price of certain cars.
That title will say 3.
Yes, it has PT'd Mikono, and I don't know them.
Yeah.
I don't know how they were using the cars. Yeah. But now, if I'm selling Mike this car and I tell him, actually, you're the first owner, it's an empty registration document. That means you're the first
empty
owner.
Title.
Interesting. Okay,
and
that's actually
I
didn't know that.
Yes, it increases a lot of value on the cars. So with certain cars, Canada is a good market. We've been getting a lot of cars for Canada now.
Okay.
The war has obviously affected our market for the Middle East, and people, anytime there's a war, people will hold back.
Hold back
on the things that don't matter. Especially Arabs are very specific. Cars are just a way of rewarding themselves. It's not like us, a means of transport.
Rewarding myself is buying Prime.
Yes. So it's different. When the war comes, the market shrinks a bit. So we have to start looking for new clients in markets.
Other markets.
Yes, other markets. And I mean, if it's the same thing for everyone.
Same thing for everyone.
You have to adjust.
Name drop for me a couple of other cars. Which one?
I would say we are working on an SF90XX. That's a good car. It should be
what
going
color?
Now it's red in color. And some of these cars actually we are not even allowed to post them because they have a restriction period.
Unaweza nionyesha offline.
I'll show you offline.
Okay.
And what happens is the owners, like I mentioned in another podcast, the owners are making serious money off these cars. They are making serious money off these cars, and it's not allowed.
What do you mean? Maybe expand on that further. Like when they're profiting from this, and it's not.
Yes, it's not allowed. So, for example, I don't know if it happens with Toyota here. If you buy a new Prado and there are no Prados in the market, they will tell you that you cannot resell within first year, because let's say the Prados are going. Toyota is selling at no markup, so they're going to sell you a new Prado at, let's say, 15 million. But there are no Prados in the market. Even Japan, there are no Prados. And Mike has a client who is willing to pay 25 million for a Prado. So that means Mike takes his cut, maybe let's say 1 million. Then the other cut goes to the owner of this car who bought a car from Toyota Kenya.
Really? Okay.
And that owner will make a cool, how much is that? That's almost 9 million.
9 million, yes.
That's a lot of money.
That's good money.
That's not, even Toyota is not making that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yes.
So Toyota will say, no, you cannot do that, because they'll realize that all the cars they're delivering are being sold by people like Mike.
Yes.
You understand?
Okay, so these large brands actually have those. Like,
so what Toyota will do, they will write, if I buy that car, they will write and say that you have a restriction period. You cannot resell this. It's called a no resale policy. So you cannot resell this car within a period of 12 months.
12 months.
That means that people who didn't get allocations will not start complaining that you denied us allocation and look at the people here. They are just making serious money. But it's a serious business. Like, I mean, there are people who will make between $10 to $20 million a year on just average Ferraris.
Just by moving
cars. And
it's a business. Even in Japan, actually, that's what happens.
Yes, exactly.
In auctions, you find a unit has been sold maybe in maybe CAA. That's an auction house. It moves from CAA, goes to another auction house like maybe USS.
Yes.
Maybe it was sold at 1.4 mic. They sell it at 2 mic.
No profit.
I mean, if you
mostly is it like a written contract where they tell you you're not allowed to sell?
Yes, I think even in Japan they do right because
for new.
Yes, I remember. If you look at the prices I quoted, for example, for the Prado I reviewed yesterday, that was $36,000. That's the actual price on Japanese website. But I don't think there's anyone who is finding a Prado for that $6,000.
That is the 250.
Yes, the 250.
That one is like 68.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the person who bought it may have paid that because they are buying directly from Toyota Japan. But they will not
go to the black market.
Yes, they will not. There's no way they're going to give you at cost. And I think there's a rule because I remember when the new 300 series came out, there were so many people who could not resell them. So the market didn't have cars. The cars have been delivered, but they can't be sold yet. So they were waiting maybe, I would suppose maybe 3 to 6 months. Then all of a sudden, there was an influx of cars on the market.
All of them are out in the market.
Then you start realizing, oh, wait, we are just waiting for a few months. So this kind of thing, it's just to balance the market and make sure that the dealers are in control and the resellers are also being, kept at.
The thing is, it's interesting how people find these pockets of businesses where literally you're moving cars from one end to another and luxury cars.
Yes.
I mean, the amount of money in it. And do you have people that have a collection of 10 plus cars? They just buy and keep, and they don't do anything with it. They're not sellers. Like people who they don't even drive the cars. This is just my trophy.
Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with folks like
Collectors?
Collectors.
I think that's 10 is too small. I would say 10 is people like me who are.
Should I wakisha?
No. Because I'm smoking my jacket now. I don't want to feel cold. Yes, but I would say 10 is small. I think one of the client I have. One of my clients who I actually don't sell any expensive cars. The last guy I sold him is a Lexus LM because I haven't gotten to the level of selling him those kind of cars. I think he's the largest Ferrari collector in the world. The last time I checked, he's at 400 plus.
What?
And he at one time had an Instagram at one time, but he then closed it. But he's a banker.
So this is all in one place?
No, not in one. This guy has cars in New Zealand, cars in Japan, cars in fact, the current car that we are working on, which is also another cheap car in his collection, a 765 LT, the second one I'm selling him.
That's cheap for him.
Yes, that's cheap for him.
How much does it set you back?
That's around now $350,000.
Meskia.
So
from using Uber Bolt to Uber Chap Chap to 375.
Just to make you understand, he bought a Lexus LM from me just to drive from his house to London. He flies via private plane. Of course, he's a Forbes billionaire. This is someone whose companies, not one, but whose 1 or 2 companies are in the Fortune 500.
Wow!
But his money has been made through banking, and investment and all that. So he just bought a Lexus LM from me just to use it from his house to his jet. That car has probably, since I sold it, which is I would say 2 years ago, has probably 200 kilometers.
Jesus.
Because it just uses it.
The LM is like the Alphard for Lexus.
The Alphard for Lexus, yes. Okay.
Man, so these guys are heavy hitters and they just spend on cars.
They spend. You see, that's
how do they get in touch with you? Like, is it through your Instagram?
No, I mean, like Mike said, most of these are referrals. So when you get to that caliber of clients, someone who knows and someone who just refers you, they will see your Instagram, yes, but I don't know you that well.
Yes. Yeah.
So I still need someone to
verify.
Actually,
this is.
On that note, actually, social media will not work on such clients. A big chunk of really expensive high-end clients or high-end cars that you can sell is referral. Because actually, I normally tell people a referral is 70% into the business.
True.
The 30% is for you to be polite, to follow up, to see how, because some of these high-end people, they can have an attitude, so you need to also like contain yourself.
He's not gonna contact you there. You need to reach out to him
because you're chasing the deal.
Correct.
And he's not really at your mercies. It's for you to follow up, blah blah blah, and for you to understand him and see this guy, maybe this is what he wants, blah blah blah. So referrals actually are the best.
That's actually solid business acumen. Is you treat it like a business. You treat them like you're generally chasing them for, and especially at that, a billionaire.
I mean, it's a whole different. Right now, we have so many people who are buying this kind of cars, and social media has actually made people who are never into cars. Look at Australia, for example. So many billionaires are coming. They were never into cars 10 years ago.
Yes.
But now social media, everyone has what they call collector. So your name, Mike, collector.
Yes.
Sajid,
yes. Collectors.
You know, and it has made people realize, oh, I have so much money. How much do you think his collection is worth? $60 million. I can do that. So someone decides. So in fact, one of the collection I'm working on in Qatar is someone who just started. He used to be a watch collector, and he approached me. And he said, "Look, I want to start a collection. Can you help me find this?"
I remember you posted something about that. Yeah,
and we've been building up that collection for the past 4 years.
Okay.
And it's just finding cars that he thinks that are good. Part of why they come to people like me is because I'm going to advise him and tell him, look, this guy is worth this much, and this guy is probably not worth this much. So just put it and sell this.
Okay.
Then now you have to shuffle cars in and out of the collection, make sure that he's getting the right taste and the right cars. Most of these cars will never be at dealerships. And if they're in dealerships, the prices are just
ridiculous. So you're the one keeping out, does he tell you, okay, this is the basic aspect of what I want? You just go and find me cars that I like. He's the one telling you, I need this.
These are not people who know so much about cars.
Okay.
So they rely on your information to just come in, and tell them that this car is good. Do you think you would want it in your collection? And he's going to ask a bunch of questions like, does it have warranty? Those are the things they care about. Does it have warranty? And you tell them, we can buy extended warranty. We can do this and this. He just wants a trouble-free
car. Okay.
So something to
if we bring things back home, like for such type of cars, do we actually have people buying at that scale here, or that quantity and that level? Because recently I've seen, I think it's a GT. Is it a GT3 RS? Yes. A red one over here.
Yeah.
You're seeing more and more of these luxury cars. Okay, so my question is, I guess people have the financial capability to buy. Do we really have the roads to drive on? Like, even just outside over here.
I would say we have the roads. Honestly, I have been to places like the UK where Kenya has much, much better roads, to be completely honest. I always tell people, I always actually tell people, if Thika Road was to be lifted and put in the UK, and then we get one of their highways brought into Kenya, we are gonna cry and beg them, give us back our Thika Road. I'm not lying to you. I have tried even doing shoots on their highways, and it's impossible. It's so bumpy. You get the servicing of the roads is not like here.
Right.
Here we do it quite often. There and if one section is closed, it's gonna take like forever before they're done with it. So I wouldn't say that roads play a big part, but what I would say is, when we started this conversation, you remember I mentioned that, unfortunately, very few people are able to buy brand new cars, and we are talking of normal cars, even a brand new RAV4. Very few people can go to the showroom and buy a brand new RAV4. It's not that we don't have the money here. It's just that the tax policies that we have make it only a few people.
Yes.
And that's why we have a culture of people saying one of one in Kenya, when actually it's not a one of one.
Yeah.
It's probably a car that's so common out there.
Yes.
And why I don't blame such people, the struggle we have here is real.
Yeah.
To the point that when you bring an SQ5 with B&O, you call it a one of one. We are talking of a used SQ5.
Yes.
This guy has gone and done his homework and realized I'm the only one with an SQ5 with a sunroof and a B&O audio system. So I'm going to call it a one of one. You may think this guy is bragging, but he's not.
Yes.
He is actually just painting over the struggle he had to go.
Yeah.
Pay such huge amounts of money for an SQ5. Then on top of that, it has options that no one else could afford.
Yeah.
in reality, we shouldn't have to go through that.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying it's not that we don't have the money. We have the money to buy those cars. It's just that the 1% with that kind of money, first of all, don't understand those kind of cars.
Yes.
He will not shelf 200 million for such a car.
200 million. Hey.
Yeah, no. And if they do, it will be an SUV. It's going to be maybe a Rolls Royce. It's going to be a Bentayga or something of the sort.
Yeah.
There was someone recently you posted bought, was it a Lambo? Was it Burna Boy? But that's in Nigeria. But
That's Nigeria. So now
That's a McLaren.
yeah, McLaren.
Sorry.
Senna. And
McLaren Senna?
Yes, McLaren Senna.
How much did you spend on that car?
So they say 2 billion naira. So that's about $2 million.
$2 million on a car.
Yeah. So, but I mean, for Burna Boy, Burna Boy has money.
He's a bowler.
Yeah, people like
Hey,
Burna
the
Boy.
bangers back to back.
Yes, he's there.
See, we get AI Kim to release songs over here. Watch out with this podcast, Bana.
Yes, they are making good money. But you see, Nigeria also they have a bigger economy than some first world.
Yes.
So
Because of the-
can't actually
I agree.
compare. And that's another point with Nigeria. Imagine even if we were to make our economy good without good policies, Nigeria has that economy, but how many people are able to afford those cars?
On many.
I'm not lying to you. I try. The Nigerians, friends of mine, they said, "Can you be including Nigerian prices on?"
They have the capability to buy cars like that scale.
Yeah.
Yes, they have because they have the
Nigeria,
economy. But the
yeah.
problem is how many people are able to do that.
Very, very
You
few.
understand?
Very
It's- Why do we have so many Nigerians moving to other countries?
Yes.
Because they realize
Yeah.
it's easier for me to do. And I'm talking about the honest Nigerians.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot
Crafty ones.
Yes, but I'm talking about the honest Nigerians.
Yeah, true.
Most of them have moved to other countries
Yeah.
to do honest business because it's actually hard. I remember there's one time I sold, this is a true story, and I don't know where that client went. We sold an 812 Superfast. That was when the 812 Superfast came out. We are talking what? To a Nigerian. You know, the guy was paying because they have a restriction of how much money you can send out. And the guy was sending out about 20,000. The car is worth what? 380,000 euros. He was sending about 10, 20,000 maybe per week. Then when he got to about 150, he disappeared without a trace.
Really?
Without a trace. Now we have this kind of money sat in the bank. The bank, first of all, cannot release it because we need to give the reason for the
proof of
money. Why
payment.
we have so many payments coming from Nigeria.
Yeah.
And just like that, the guy disappeared and he kept on saying, look, I really want to pay you full, but the government does not allow me to send full money out of Nigeria.
Wow.
And now we ordered the car because we ordered the car according to his specification. And when the car came to the dealership, we told the dealer, look, we
This
had a
guy-
client
yeah.
and the client is no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
So the dealer had to sell. The good thing, he had a very good taste. The spec was really good. It was white, tan interior, full carbon. So the dealer ended up selling the car.
What happened to his money?
His money, just like that, the bank will never release that money. We have to find him and give
his
the
money was
reason.
So the money is still stuck.
The money is still stuck.
So if he comes and says, "Pesa yangu," you'll give.
Now we also have, according to the contract, he can't even. In fact, we need him. The moment he comes, we will reclaim it. We reclaim the money.
Yes.
Maybe take, according to the contract,
Yes.
take part of it and
Then
give him now.
refund
Yeah,
him
because
his
you've,
money.
Yes,
you've been through all that trouble.
Yes.
Ama, let's say 5 years if he doesn't
I found him to be quite genuine, but
Yeah.
he gave the struggles, which are true. Those countries, you can't just send money out there.
You can't. It's yeah. You know, the interesting thing I found out about Nigeria is because we have counterparts that build data center,
Yes.
they don't have power.
Yes.
They don't have power in
Blackout
Nigeria
is
at all.
big there.
So
Yeah.
everyone buys a generator.
Yes.
For example, us, when you have a runtime percentage, so out of 100%, how much do you use KPLC? How much do you use generator? And in Nairobi, it's 98% KPLC, 2% generator.
Yes.
So it's quite effective.
Yes.
Over there, it's the opposite.
Yes.
Yeah, but you see, that's exactly why I'm saying it's not that we can't buy these cars.
Yeah.
We can't actually buy these cars. Their economies, I'm not even talking about Kenya. If we compare Kenyan economy versus Nigeria, we are not even. We are not
Nigeria
even
is way ahead.
scratching
Way
the
ahead.
surface. They are way ahead. South Africa is known to be ahead in terms of cars, but even their economy doesn't touch Nigeria's
Yes.
economy. But you see the policies they have over there, and so many other countries like Equatorial Guinea. They have so much to offer in terms of minerals and in terms of everything else, but their economy does not reflect
Right.
because the people with the money are like this. then the rest are
Yes.
fighting
Peasants.
Peasants.
for the small money that's there.
Yeah.
And you see, in first world countries, that's what I always say. The difference between a first world country and a third world country is it's not the buildings, it's not the roads. If we go band for band on roads,
Yes,
tutashinda so many first world countries.
But the Kenya infrastructure surprisingly is pretty decent.
But that's not the difference between a first world country. It's how the money is made and how it's spent. And how it's spread evenly.
I agree.
And I think you did a video saying you'd like to keep money.
Yes.
You feel like there are countries that you go, you feel, hey, I'm spending a lot of money. It's a road deal.
Exactly. Yes. That's true. And it's just that to the point of where even you remember the video I did about the shambas and everything.
Yeah.
You're in Kenya, you're a car guy, you want to match up to your fellow colleagues out there.
Yeah.
Because you have friends. The world is so connected nowadays.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm probably sure you have friends all around.
Yes.
You have friends like you, probably who make less than you. They're driving better cars than you. Yes. And they ask you, why don't you go for this? Sometimes you're so tired, you don't want to start explaining to them why I can't buy an expensive car. You tell them, they just mentioned taxes.
Tax policy here is
it's
crazy.
much bigger than that.
Yeah.
You don't want to go into details. And I say, look, in Kenya, just go for that shamba.
Go for that. In fact, maybe we could talk about that because there was such a good point that you raised. Is if you have 1 million shillings and you're going to buy a second-hand car versus a plot of land,
yes,
the appreciation, the value you get at the end of it, you might as well just stick your money and go for that land, right?
Yes.
I mean, where did that come from? That whole thought process behind.
But we are talking used cars. If right now Mike sells me a used CX-5, how much worth will it be in 3 years, give or take?
Actually, if there is one car that depreciates,
I hate that.
You know, just before I came to a podcast, I think Al did the video of my 6.5.
Yes.
I'd already sold it, yes.
That's before we bought the CX-5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if there is a car that, and I think now Tiguan will take over the 6.5.
Yes, it will
the
take
Tiguan
over,
has
definitely.
gone lower.
Yes.
If there is a car that as soon as you just buy, there's a possibility the person that you're going to sell, a potential customer, will come, will make comparisons, will say, I've seen one in Mombasa, I've seen one in where is the 6.5.
Really?
When they came, especially the very first 6.5s that we sold, I remember around 2016, the KCVs, KC,
yes,
those ones, they were landing here at around 1.1. The very first 6.5, the one that had halogen lights.
Yes.
Now they became too many. The demand went high. So right now, if you have even a sunroof 6.5, mine I sold it for around 3.5, 3.6, and I'd used it slightly, but mine was really, it was leaking, with a sunroof and a body kit. Right now, I know guys who are selling a 6.5 with a sunroof for 3.2, even 3 mic.
Really?
Yes. The only 6.5 that can hold resale right now is the turbo 2.5. I think yours is a 2.5 NA.
Maybe see now.
Sold it already.
You sold it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at it that way, let's say now Mike sells me, I give him 3 million for that, and he goes and the place I was shooting now, Kiambu has so many parcels of land. There's that place which is called Moringa View, and they have parcels of land for some really good budget. How much do you think I will have in my pocket with a CX-5 versus Mike, who spent on an eighth in Kiambu? His land will probably be worth 7 million in 5 years. My car, I'll probably be brought in a used Vitz, and then mtu aniongeze like 400k with a used Vitz on the side.
That is so true. I mean, if you look at it from a perspective of putting money into your pocket and taking money out of your
exactly
pocket, such cars, especially now economy, day by day,
that's used car market for you,
and the land goes up.
Actually, the only cars that I can say that are coming from these markets that I think can hold value are the low number cars. Like if you search like a car like his car, like I'm sure, I don't think even Al can sell that C63 at any point. Because looking at the taxes right now, any German, any Euro, those are the cars which will hold value. Because in the years to come, the duties will still go up. But anything JDM, especially people that are buying Harriers, Nini, those ones you can be sure. Because anything that is flooded in the market, the value goes down.
By the way, on a side note, I'm seeing a lot of South Sudan number plates and cars.
So that happens every quite a few years. Yeah, I think there was a time there was even a crackdown on that.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing high-end cars, especially come from South Sudan. We're talking American muscle cars.
Yeah.
Is
The
there
Hammers.
exactly? Is there some kind of loophole these guys have
No,
figured out?
these are actually South Sudan people who owns them. So
Kenyan
like Kenya is a hub for especially when it comes to East Africa.
Yeah.
There's a lot of East Africans from other countries who live in Kenya.
Right.
And most of them are well off. So if they have the money,
Wananunua.
then they will just buy those cars. I think even I've seen a Nurus on SSD plates.
Yes.
I've seen
Actually a left hand.
yes, left hand.
But then they sell those cars locally as well, right?
No. They just have them on the USD title.
Oh, hii ni chini ya maji.
Yes. Lakini sasa haichangiwi.
I
What
mean,
happens is
Kenyans are very particular. Selling a left-hand drive to a Kenyan is very hard. It's gonna be insanely hard.
Very
But I've actually even sold. There is a good client of mine. I think you know him, the guy with the GTR.
Yeah.
Sold him. All his ranges. I'm the one who sells to him, and he takes them to SSD. Then they come back.
Really?
Straight.
He's a citizen in his country, so he can.
Okay, so then he goes.
I think they no longer do right-hand drive cars.
This left
in
hand,
South
right?
Sudan.
It's left hand.
I think they moved now to left hand.
Yeah, but you can still do right.
You can still
and
do
shorter something.
And
you know that country is
South
different.
Sudan.
Yeah.
And
Pale
they are
ni
where we were in Moi's era.
Pale even duty you negotiate.
Yeah.
You know that?
Really?
Yes.
So you just go and say this is what I want.
Kwanza it depends on who you know. Yes.
Okay. Afadhali I wish the system was like, the way I say the corruption, as negative as it is, it just means business is negotiation.
Yes.
It's about who you know. So
now the problem is that one only benefits people who know people.
Yes.
And that's where we are. We are at the moment.
You're in the dark.
Someone like Earl and Mike know everyone.
That's
I know everyone as well.
People always assume that because you're talking cars, you're doing this, you know people. That's the unfortunate truth. Me, I have been pigwad kiboko by on taxes how many times? A lot of times.
And
In fact, all the times you've brought.
In fact, Mike
Unless now you bring a VIT now.
Yeah,
let us know.
How much is it going for right now?
With the new taxes, I think around 1.6, Mike.
What?
Or let's say around.
Remember 2016 when these cars were like 600, 700K?
Yes.
Good times, man. Good times.
We were also talking before the pod that people are routing their cars through Tanzania and Uganda, then coming here. What's the logic behind that? Or they're buying from there and then getting it delivered?
Like I mentioned before, if you actually have a legitimate business in Tanzania, there are people with big businesses in Tanzania, then you have a reason to have your car under that business. Okay. There is nothing wrong. All you have the right paperwork. You are the director of the company. Yeah. You can do that. And it happens all around the world.
And
if you look at the US, for example, Montana is a very low tax country for cars. If you go to California, for example, to register a new, let's say Ferrari 296 GTB, it's going to cost you more than Montana. So what people do, they open a company in Montana.
They purchase from there?
An LLC. Yeah. No. You purchase the car from
California.
From California. You just go and plate it in Montana.
Okay.
So when you bring it to California, you're driving on Montana plates.
Right.
In some states, it's not a big problem. In some states, they will follow you. But as long as you have the right paperwork and you have a company that's showing that I do business in Montana. So in Montana has probably so many LLCs just for buying cars.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. You know? So you have those file cabinet businesses that are registered over there.
Yes. And your cars, you're paying very little taxes on that because California is strict. If you think Kenya, we are strict on cars, California is strict.
Especially with EVs and stuff.
EVs and all these kind of things going on. So it's the same thing with Tanzania.
EVs is actually a good point. I want to talk about that briefly. But with Tanzania, is the taxation of cars, is it more, I'd say, easier than Kenya? In terms of
I think they do have the same the law we were talking about. Yeah. The older the car, I think you pay more, right?
Yeah, actually, with a few newer cars, you pay more taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've tried even UG, even the units that we sold in Uganda last year. This year, I've not sold because they do most Land Cruisers, MLs. They've started selling, getting GLEs, but the duty. It's about 40 million Ugandan money, which is that it's almost like more or less the same. 40. Almost the same. Of course, not the same as us.
40 million is how much in Kenya shillings? Uganda?
I don't know the math, but it's around maybe 2 to 3
Okay. Wow.
Or even a million, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been so keen because it's not my main market.
Yeah.
But the whole point is they've tried to like the used car market in ESC is nobody is spared right now, unless now we talk a country like what, like Rwanda. And Rwanda, I think they get their cars. Rwanda is left hand, you know?
Rwanda, actually, they are getting most of their cars from South Korea and Dubai, of course.
Yes.
Rwanda is getting from South Korea. And
Yes, South Korea has
Those Hyundais-
for left-hand drive countries, South Korea is like Japan to us. Yes,
okay.
Dubai is where you avoid. I always tell people if you're not sure of Dubai, avoid those.
What
cars.
about those cars for this guy for TikTok? This guy that hires very high-end cars.
Which one?
in
Those
Dubai,
guys I've seen in
that Jama who rents out cars.
In Dubai.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, rental business is a big business, and
Especially there.
yes, especially there because there are so many.
It's a holiday destination.
Not even that. There, if I have a forex business, for example, here, and I'm by forex I mean serious business making money. The quickest way for me to show,
clean.
no, not even to clean, to just get more customers, I just need to go to Dubai, rent a car, and say I've bought the car.
That's so true.
Then
That's
go
what people
rent a jet. I'm not even gonna use the jet. Just
sit inside.
there are people
Take
who
a
have
photo.
companies for photo shoots alone, not chartering the jet, just photo shoots. So I'll go with my bag.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Like so they've got green screen at the back where the
Yes.
jet looks like it's flying, but you're just taking
Yes,
photos.
and you just go with your bag and you say, "This is what click my link, do this and this," and by the time you know it, by the time you're coming back to Kenya, you have gotten requests.
Your DM has
Your
exploded.
DM has exploded. You know.
Yeah, so Dubai is quite big with luxury car rentals.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that go there. The beautiful thing about it is you can drive really nice cars.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't say cheap.
It's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but you can get access to them. Dubai is a place where, Yani, I've gone for a customer dinner. I'll just say this right now. We spent close to $8,000.
Wow.
Oh shit.
That's like a 5-star or just a normal hotel.
It was a piece of shit because me, I was still hungry after that.
You ate.
you know,
Jeez.
eight grand on a dinner, bro.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
granted, you're making that money the tenfold from the customer, and it's an experience, but it's not something I would go and spend my own hard money.
Dubai is actually quite expensive. I always
You do research because if a mama asks you for a date, see,
Yes.
we meet at this restaurant. Me, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey.
Ngoja kidogo.
Ngoja kidogo.
I mean, of all the countries I've been to, Dubai is probably the most expensive.
And ridiculous.
If you're not making money in Dubai, you have no business
You have
there.
no business
Yeah.
there. You have no business there.
I went ahead to cut short my trip because I was like, first of all, I don't have clients from Dubai. The only client I went to see was in Abu Dhabi. So the client came, we were going on and off, and to the last minute, I was like, I'm not making this money. I'm spending this much, but I'm not
you're not
making
making-
this
Not
much.
making anything.
It's not making sense. I told the client, look, I think we've talked enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go back.
Yeah.
And I cut short my trip, changed my flights because I was spending so much money to the point of
Even Ubers, right? Your daily meals.
No.
Like there are
It's-
cheaper places.
And I think people who, you see, the thing is, Dubai sells a lot of good life, and unless you have that money to actually earn that good life,
Yeah.
most of it is fake.
Yeah.
And most people will people who actually are on their own business, they will tell you that
It has to be worth it.
it has to be worth
Yeah.
it.
I mean, Vish, when did we go? We went at the start of last year.
Yeah.
And we were doing basic things. Ubers, this and that. Bro, just an Uber to get from your hotel to Top Golf,
Yeah.
$55.
We took a Starbucks and it cost us 7,000 shillings.
Bro, me I pay
7,000 bob, bro.
Bro, I went.
That's
the
the
first thing. The first thing I did,
Sandwich and a coffee.
bro, me, I'm telling you, I went to I came off the plane, went to the next. I think they have a. Do they have a? They have a Carrefour,
Yes.
and I bought bread, small bread, bro. It was almost 15, 17 pounds because I was paying in pounds, and I'm like,
What is
what?
Yeah.
At first I thought, the airport must be really expensive.
expensive? Yeah.
Oh,
It's
the
super
next
expensive.
thing, but the next day I'm like, I have a set on the card how I
Yeah.
spend,
Yeah.
and it says you've gone over limit. I'm like, bro, I've been home all day. I only ordered food.
Yeah.
Then now it starts hitting you that I think I'm gonna have to go back to my country
Yeah,
because
Yeah. No,
things are not working out the way they are supposed to be, and it was probably the most loss-making trip I've ever gone to. I made so much loss because just to access even a car show, I have to use taxi. You see, the thing is, you go to a first world country like the UK, for example, trains are there, public transport.
Yeah.
In fact, there are countries I would not want to own a car. Countries like the UK, I would not want to own a car when I'm doing whatever I do because public transport to me works.
It's so
perfectly.
effective, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
People
exactly.
who live there complain, but I tell them from where I'm coming from. This is
works.
really
Like
this
you,
works.
you can get anywhere and everywhere in UK.
You can get,
so
but
it's
now
quite
Dubai,
surprised
the
with
thing
that.
is the train only works, I think, from
It's a straight line from
yes,
one
it's a
place.
Yes, and if you're going to, let's say, other countries outside of Dubai, from let's say Dubai to Abu Dhabi,
Yes.
there's no train.
Bro, so you know where we are?
You know how much the taxi cost on that?
How much?
The taxi costs, I can't remember, but it was so much. That's when because I went to see the client, and coming back, I started asking myself, was this worth it?
You must have paid $100 plus.
Yeah, it was. No, it was more. It was more than 100
Yeah.
for 1 hour trip. On a Lexus,
1 hour trip, you must have paid $200,
on a
$300.
Lexus, they use the Lexus ES. I think it's the Lexus ES. I don't even like Lexus that much to pay that kind of money, you know. And I asked myself, and now they have influencer visas. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, they've got influencer
Yes,
visas.
they have now influencer visa. You see how they have the golden visa for rich people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they have golden visa for influencers, where you can go there for 10 years without a visa. It's like a residence permit for influencers to just encourage more people. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
The only thing is the competition. Let's say, for example, myself, I do cars.
Yes.
Let's say car reviews. If I go there, do you know how many people are doing reviews there?
Hundreds and thousands of people.
So
bro,
the amount of money probably I make here or even in the UK, I will not be able to make it there because the competition is so hard.
You know, also I think with Dubai is it's a rotating door.
Yes.
Meaning there are people that are coming for the life and the glitz and the glam.
Yes.
Versus if you go to Qatar, there's old money, there's
Yes.
established money, there's
Yes,
people
yes.
that actually will spend.
Yes.
Dubai, I feel, is like, you know, the trailers before a movie.
Yes.
It's just bullshit. It's just show,
Yeah.
just to get you to spend.
Yes,
but no
yes,
one is
yes.
actually going to spend that money over there.
Yeah.
If we're here, Ufika petrol station, in Kenya, we would just walk.
Yes.
Dubai, we had to take a taxi.
Yes.
That taxi costs you $50.
Bro.
Just here.
And
Yes.
that's 200 meters.
Just 200 meters, man.
Because it's a weird city. You can't walk anywhere.
It's one of
Can't
the most, it's these walkable cities.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I got to a point where I'm like, try now renting a car. Now and you know I don't want to rent a stupid looking car. I want a nice car.
Yeah.
Then you realize it's not cheap. I rented a Bronco. I sampled a few cars. I was hurting my pocket, but at the same time I was like, most of these cars I'll never be able to see them in any other country unless I go to the US.
Yeah.
Because they buy a lot of US and American cars. And that was the only reason. I just needed to have my own impression of these cars. Are they good cars? Are they, something like that? But at the end of the day, I was like, unless you're working there, living there, getting paid there, you have no business spending more time than is needed in Dubai.
That's why they say Habibi come to Dubai.
Habibi come
Dubai. You come to Dubai and then you realize
the thing is they are paying guys like quite well to stay over there, and they're paying like you're getting dollar jobs.
Yes.
Actually, this is a good point. I wanted to ask you guys about the dollars. Have you heard the rumor that we're actually in Kenya artificially hedging the currency? Because in the East Africa bloc, the dollar is quite high, and us we're at 130. So they're saying before the end of the year or before election, it'll figure 160. Have you guys heard about that?
That rumor, but
I've heard that.
So your stocks before elections.
actually,
Because
funny thing, do you know before election is when we are super busy? Actually, we've started becoming busy now.
Is it because politicians are cleaning the money?
No, okay. I don't know. For some reason,
Yeah.
in all elections, money just comes out, and it's not even politicians.
It's all that money that's been taken out.
Yes. Now
Right now coming back.
Do you know 2021 was my best year in this career?
Really?
Yes,
Really?
2021.
And were people
I
buying
made
cash?
so much money.
Were people buying cash?
No, not really cash. Of course, there were a few. Like
Okay.
I think I told Al about the SQ5 and Golf
Yes.
R.
Yes.
A few of them.
Yes.
But high-ends, I think we sold about LX570 over 10.
Yes, I remember.
So
You were selling quite a lot of those.
Back to back, I sold whites, I sold grays, we sold ZXs, politicians, kawaida people. So I don't know where the money came from. And the money has started coming actually, right?
Inshallah, you get another year like that.
I think
Very
next
soon.
year could be actually
year.
it started because normally what happens, customers make inquiry,
Yes.
and me, I know customers who will convert. I can tell you this customer can convert maybe if they make an inquiry by they're saying end of the year, ama by the end of the year, this is a sure client.
Yeah.
Because normally for us, we know which customers to follow and which not to follow. The same thing we've just spoken about
Okay.
before.
So maybe.
But I think the only thing I forgot I wanted to mention about doing the due diligence.
Yeah.
When Al was mentioning about his jimny. Right now in Japan, I think there are some since Jimny is well versed with them, Al is well versed with Jimnys. There are some Jimnys that you find that they've said it's a JC and it's a JL.
Oh, really?
Yes. And there's some cars generally you find they say it has Burmester, for example, for Mercedes, and it doesn't have. So I think this is another thing which I've noticed in Japan it started happening.
On just to add on what Mike is saying is Japan is no longer the Japan that used to be 10 years ago.
Yes.
Really?
Japan has lots of foreigners who have come and started.
Pakistanis.
Yes, who've started the business. We have Russians. we have lots of Russians, Pakistanis, and Chinese. And those are coming, and especially the Chinese, they are coming in with a lot of money. You know, people always think that, you know, you have Russians and Pakistanis coming with money. Chinese money is on a whole different level.
Yes.
It's serious
it's a different
money.
league.
It's a different league.
Yes.
Chinese are moneyed, properly moneyed. And when they come to a market like this, they don't come to be flashy or to do anything like that. They come to make more money than they have.
To do business.
To do business. So the Japan that we used to know, where it used to be a very honest Japan, it's not the same Japan. You have to be careful.
So you have to have a guy like Mike looking out for you.
Now, what I normally do, I even on one price is like a fixed price. We don't. I just will not just buy a car based on what I'm seeing on the specs.
Correct.
I'll either send the guy to go physically check the car, because assuming you buy a car like what, then you find a spec is missing. What happens?
Yes.
There is no return.
That's a very big, especially for the Jimny JC versus JL. That is like what? That is like TX versus TZG.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Then
so
even for Peugeots, there are some Peugeots which they don't write. Like you find a Peugeot, like the high spec is a GT line. You find they've said it's a GT line, but if you really know a GT line, a GT line will have a different trim, the stitching, nini.
Okay.
So if you're a very ignorant person, you'll just say, this is a GT line, but now I've already bought it. Another thing, I saw people saying they trust Gunet. I think you might do you know a site called Gunet?
The
Gunet Exchange.
Is it like the one?
No, Gunet is it's like a listing website.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know there are some cars? The way Allah said, foreigners. You buy a car from auction X. It's an accident car. You polish it, you take it to Gunet, and you say it's a no repair car. And it has happened to me actually, not so long ago. But luckily, we noticed, we managed to pull out that auction sheet. We noticed only one panel was replaced. But now I didn't know who to blame, because now the client is the one that sent the link and said, can you find this car? And it said no repair history. You understand? Now that's the due diligence, the due diligence that you're saying. It's really important because it's a used car business. We like once you buy the unit, liability gets off from the person that you buy from. There is no return back policy.
To add on that,
so isn't there a big business insurance on that? So, like just to protect you from false purchases.
But you see, that's a very tricky. Even insurance, I don't think they want to get into such a risky business. It's too risky even for insurance. But what we do with the cars, for example, the cars that we sell, with used cars, because I do deal used cars from time to time, because some cars, obviously, they are not new. They are rare collectibles, but they are not new.
Yeah.
So to prevent that from happening, because someone will come and say, with Ferraris, it's easy. And every other, maybe Ferrari, Porsche, they have a service history. So when the car comes to the dealer after the first year, they do a service, then they record it. They will check if the car has been in an accident or anything like that. Then they're going to say the car is clean. But let's say someone bought the car from Europe. It came and he's never taken it to the Ferrari dealership. He's just been doing his own service at home, which is probably through a independent service garage that does probably an even better job than Ferrari. So he says, I'm not going to pay a lot of money for to Ferrari. I'll use my guy to do the service. And he does a very good job.
Yeah.
But now there's a problem. The only way a client in another country can know that this guy is an accident-free car is if the service history from Ferrari is showing that this is an accident-free car. So there's that question of who do I trust? So we have now to employ the services of third-party inspection agent who will come with all the gadgets that are involved. Nowadays, the technology has improved. They will measure paint to the last detail.
Measuring paint?
Yes, literally. If the thickness has changed in one panel, it will detect.
Okay.
Now, from the factory, there are some panels that will be thicker than others.
That's
just like a human body. You are thicker in other places than other places.
The hips.
Yes, the hips. Now, for the cars, in hip areas, they'll be a bit thicker, but not by much. And Porsche, Ferrari, they will always give those details. They'll tell you that expect between this and this. And certain paints, obviously. With Ferrari, we have something called a triple layer coat. That's the most expensive paint you can get from. Yes, triple layer coat. It's called like a yellow. Sana, it's always yellow. So it's going to be thicker than other paints. Now that paint, to even mess around with it, there is no way that machine will not detect. On top of that, we have machines that are going to measure things like the AC, how cold it is, how everything, how as it should be working.
Like
from
a
the
full
factory.
audit report of the car.
An audit. So in Porsche, we call it a 111 check. It's 101 points that you have to check on that car.
Interesting.
Including everything, that will now make sure that this car, even though it never got the service history from Ferrari or Porsche, then it has a proper check.
So you have all these guys that you use.
No, that is one guy now who everyone. I mean, I could start a company like that. It's just that here I don't think someone will pay. No one will pay. No one will pay.
If you start such a company, people will come for you.
Yes, people will come
because here you like maybe to add on to Mike's point is we suffered because we didn't know who else to go. It's just through our podcast and now dealing. I found out about the QSJ. So if you have a company that says we can check your imported cars.
But you see, the problem is they will have a contract saying that Bottas is that thing. That thing always
as is where is.
Yes, as is.
So the liability lives.
Yes.
And then again, you see, if we really had a country that had systems, and you knew that if I start such a company, I'm safe.
Yes,
because you see, even I've
that's
seen,
a very risky business to start here because I'm not lying to you. Most of the cars that are coming into the country are mainly accident cars because, like I said, this is I call it a very complicated relationship between the seller and the buyer in Kenya. The seller wants to make a profit. The buyer wants
the cheapest
cheapest with the most options.
Yes.
I don't care how you do it, just make it happen.
Just make it happen.
And that's the majority of the buyers. Very few buyers are gonna come and tell you, they're gonna sit down with you, tell you, I don't mind. Just please, these are the options I want. There are people who are like that, especially the car enthusiast. And I'm not talking about Subaru people. I'm talking even an enthusiast who drives a Volvo,
yes,
a Mazda, a wagon. Those are people who love their cars, but they know what they want. But the majority of the people, they want the car they saw. They saw an XC60. It has all this. Then they come back to Mike. Yeah. Mike, this car, I want it at 3 million, full options, everything, and under 50,000 kilometers.
Bro,
now Mike will not be able to produce that, but there's a dealer who can do it, and he will do it.
He will do it.
So, however he did it,
and the minute you sign the contract and leave the
now imagine at that budget, and you still have to make a profit. How is that even possible? Even as the buyer, you have to ask yourself: this car is being sold by 7 other dealers for this price. Then you come to this dealership; it's been sold at this.
That is what they call it.
Even you
good deal.
Yes, and you can't even ask yourself. But you're so blinded by your need for
the
car and a lower price and full options that you don't want to reason beyond that.
I completely get that. But it's the world we live in because on TikTok, on our first podcast before the one that didn't go through. Remember, I told you I saw this video where there was a 200. You see a Prado 200 coming. Mm-hmm. The one with the big fat ass. Yeah. And again, Pakistani guys, they start going inside the car, they start replacing parts, they start doing this, they do something with the engine, and then they change the car to look like what's the one that came after the 200?
You're talking about the 150.
No, sorry, I think it was 150, then to look like a 200. Like they completely
Is it
changed.
a Land Cruiser?
Land Cruiser Prado.
This was a Land Cruiser. It was the 200 series.
200 series Land Cruiser to look like a 300 series.
Yes, to look like a 300.
Oh, okay, yes.
Kwanza, if there is something that I look and just
They-
feel like
they do
pure.
that.
They are the worst.
You know me, I can just like us. We can just look at a facelift and say, what shit is this?
Yes.
Because I see so many of them.
When you
Some
see
of them,
yeah, by the way.
some of them have been done so shitty.
Like I said, I stopped judging because I understand the struggle. I always say it's
The
comes down to
pressure.
the struggle.
The
The pressure is so much.
The pressure creases.
This person cannot understand how the neighbor has a 300 series and
Yes.
my 200 series. I want to feel new, but I can't afford it. The tax is too much. So what do? I go and butcher my car, make it look like a 300 series, like a frog that's dehydrated. And at the end of the day, you're driving something that looks so bad. But how am I supposed to judge such a person? We are all in the same boat. When you think about it, we are all in the same boat. We are all trying to get a very nice car, but the tax policies keep
I better keep my.
Yeah, but how many people are thinking like that? Very few people.
If it's a facelift, you can do
You
it.
don't even need a facelift. You don't even need a facelift in a 200 series. You just need to. I don't care if it's the first 1-2 UZ. You know that UZ the one with the fat lights. Yeah. Just keep your car as it is. That's how purists do. But how many purists are there? The purists are like 1 to 10 ratio.
Yes.
Majority of the people, the moment a facelift comes out, can I make mine
like this?
Like you
and
see,
big business.
like you see, there's a video you did for the GTR.
Yes.
That one was very, very nicely done.
Yes.
You have to be a car guy to notice it because I noticed
yes.
it from the rear.
Yes, because it's a 1-to-1 copy.
Yes.
From.
But you see the 200 to 300. Kwanza the headline at the back. That's the first thing you'll see, because from the front you might say somehow you might think it's a 300. It's a true 300. But ikipita tu hivi huko nyuma, you know the 300 is a bit. It's not so long.
Yeah.
It's a bit
compact.
You'll just know.
You know that.
No, it's just, I would say, I always use that. The struggle is real.
Yeah, and I appreciate your point.
It's pushing us to do things that it creates business.
Yeah.
But then that business would not even be there if people are allowed to enjoy these cars. It's their money at the end of the day.
But right now, Al,
yes,
I think if the new taxes pass, there'll be no point of doing a facelift, if you ask me.
Because then you can get the cars.
Because you can just sell what you have
and get the car
and get the other one. Because I think in the next 2 years,
the 300 series will be the same price as a 200.
Yeah.
You know.
So are you guys overall happy with this new taxation? Like, do you think it's a positive?
No, but you
change?
see, the people who are buying those big cars, like we said, the cars that are affected are the normal people, the normal cars that people buy. If I want to buy a 200 series, the tax is what? 1.4 for a 200.
The 1.4 series is 1.8.
1.8.
Yeah, for a 2018.
For 2018.
Yes.
That means someone who is buying an SQ5 is paying
Of
a
course.
million more
Yes.
on an SQ5 than a 200 series, which probably costs more there.
There.
So it's not making sense. It means that the average person who is buying Swift Sport, how much is it?
It's around 550.
Around 550. So that makes the car about what? 2.5.
Yeah.
Is it a GTI you will buy or it's a Swift Sport? As much as I love my Swift Sports, there is no way I'm spending that kind of money on a Swift Sport, you know?
Yeah. Actually, I delivered the one for Nani last week.
Yes.
And we are really rushing to have it delivered.
To have it before the taxes, yes.
In fact, now that you mentioned it, I've heard Swift Sport come up several times. Is it that good a car?
No, the car is really...
I saw you're really...
I've driven so many cars, so many sports cars. I've driven a heavily built Swift Sport and a normal Swift Sport and a stock one. And I can tell you they are completely different cars, but still the stock one, because I lived with a Minzo's Swift Sport, which is, fairly stock.
Is the yellow one? No?
Yes, stockish with the same size turbo just from HKS, which I think spools faster, so makes the car quite rapid. And I'm telling you, the things I did with that car made me feel I have never even done with my STI, for example.
Really?
Yes, it's a car that I would probably want for as a tracker. You know,
how much does it set you back?
Those cars used to be like 1.7 landed or 1.8.
You know, for his was for like how much?
His came more because obviously he had
the issue. But right now the one that one was like, I think looking at it, I think maybe like 1.5 tops.
Yes.
So it's a fun little hot pocket car.
Yes, that one had genuine NKs, 17s. It was feeling really.
You posted a blue one as well.
Yes,
right?
that's the one I'm
talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, South Africa, Swift is the best selling car in South Africa.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So
That's
that tells you, although we are talking of the new Swift.
Yeah.
As we are talking of
those guys.
they are
they-
talking of the new
go
Swift.
ahead.
Which year are you talking about?
As we are talking 2018.
These are 7 years.
So,
Yes.
2019, 2020, how much would that cost?
Over
No,
two.
it's still the same gen, but now South Africa are talking 2024, which is a new generation.
Those guys are.
It looks completely different and much,
If it's Tumba 2020,
20.
maybe around 2 point something.
yes.
The last time I asked Earl, and we're going to do that now.
Yeah.
So the best budget sports car.
Yes.
What is it for you?
Now, right now, it gets tricky because if now we are talking of
Taxes
the
have
of the taxes, I would probably then go back to a GTI now.
Okay.
Yes, the Mark 7.5, I think, would come up as the best budget sports car because now budget in Kenya has
Budget in
changed
Kenya
from
has changed.
1 point something to now
Yeah.
almost 3 million,
What about for you?
Well, I would also think along those lines, maybe something German, maybe Apollo GTI now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it should come
Yeah.
cheap, I think.
Yeah.
How
Yes.
much would that cost me?
Maybe around 1.8 to.
So
And what people don't know is the Polo now, it comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, so the same engine in the GTI. So if you actually
moves.
It moves, eh?
mods,
Yeah.
if you do mods, the same mods, let's say if you do mods in a Polo GTI, you can do some serious go far times with that
Yeah.
car.
And even if you do Gymkhana, actually
Yes.
overall,
Yes.
if you mod that thing,
Yes.
it's really tiny. So ukikuwa on coilies, utakuwa unapiga hizo cons mbaya.
Yes, yes.
What hivi?
It's also a very good seller in South. I think sports car wise, it should be one of the best sellers in South Africa, the Polo GTI.
I'm so tempted by still out the Swift because it just
It's
it was. You remember when Top Gear? This was when Swift was first introduced. The Swift Sport. It was
the one
car
now we are
there.
driving.
Yeah,
Yeah. many years back.
yeah. When Top Gear was still there. Yeah.
yes.
The other question I asked you, which we got a lot, there was so many comments, but the clip did really well. I think it got like 200,000 views or something.
Yeah.
Was what's the best budget SUV in Kenya?
Actually, I have a couple now.
Tell me.
Right now, you can get like something like a Peugeot 5008, 3008. The duties have gone down. You can get a Tiguan. Right now, you can get a Tiguan for like 2.5.
Okay.
If you're not too picky, maybe the TDI diesel. You can get what else? You can get a Suzuki. What's it called?
Is it Vitara or
Yes.
Yes.
The Scudo.
The Scudo.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, Scudo.
Yeah.
Now the duty is 400k.
Oh,
So you can get it around 1.8 to mic.
So we've moved on from the CS5 and the extra.
So, guys were actually saying RVR is not an SUV. It's, what do you call them, Al? I think you know better. Is it a cross? Is it a compact SUV?
it comes now under.
What do we call them? Because now I think that was the issue. Is it?
It's not sub, so it would be between a sub compact and a compact. So
Okay.
it still falls under.
It's still
compact.
still a compact SUV.
What about for you, Earl? What would you take in the budget SUV category?
Budget SUV category, I would probably go Jetua Dashing, the one I talked about. That's a brand new car for 4.5 million shillings with more options than any Japanese SUV.
But our budget is 4.5 is steep.
I mean, look at now. What are we talking of budget right now?
So let's
Budget.
Yes.
You know, now let me tell you,
Yes.
when actually people talk of budget,
Yes.
But I sort of agree. I know people are saying 2.5, but if you're getting a brand new car,
yes,
for
people
4,
are paying now 3 million for a used over 3 million for a used CX5.
you know, budget now when it comes to this side,
Yes.
you know, your side is a different.
Let's
Yes, a budget
mention the
50.
price. Mention the price.
yes,
When you talk of budget, we're talking about under 2.2, 2.5.
Hey man.
That's the but actually, by the way, let me be honest with you. Clients that
Yes.
actually want to source cars that someone is moving from maybe a Wing Road or a Premio, they're not going too much on the budget.
so sub 3 million basically.
Actually,
So you want under 3 million?
yes.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Do I even know anything under that price? It gets
So you see,
it's because it gets to a point where all the nice cars, you see, for me, budget has also to be nice.
Yes.
It just has
Budget and
I'm not
Higher.
talking about-
Okay, let's
not a low card thing.
let's
Yes.
stretch it to 4 Mike.
No, four I would go for things like Lexus NX. No, those ones now. But now that's according to now in the used car.
That's
business,
high end.
Yes.
That's not budget anymore.
That's not okay.
Because
So
people are on a budget here 4 million.
Fair
Actually, 3 to 4. That's not someone with a budget, because the cars, I also sell low budget cars. And
Yes.
I can tell you,
Yes.
someone that is talking about let's say under 2.5. Those are the people who, if the duty changes,
Yes.
you better brace yourself for a tough day because they're not going to add a penny.
Not.
And they'll tell you,
Yes.
sasa mimi, gari we chukua,
Yeah.
refund me my money.
Refund me my money.
Yes.
Deservedly. So.
Because that's now budget. Now when we talk about budget, it's budget. Because you see, now actually even 2.5 is a stretch. Me, I can tell you because I've had a history of selling budget to high end. People who are looking for these SUVs, they're coming from a small, like small car, maybe the first car to a second car. Chances are the budget SUV is a second car.
Okay.
So they're not also with a very high budget. Chances are they're going to a circle to take a loan. So they don't have that extra money at their disposal.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
but for Al, I think the G2 will do.
I would probably go.
We're okay?
So many people are buying gazelles.
Which one?
No, that's a subcompact. Now.
Subcompact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's stretch the boundaries of budget, right? I have enough money to buy a luxury 4x4, but I can only buy one, and I'm in Kenya. What do you choose? Let's start with you.
So that's enough money.
Enough money. Budget money is not an option.
And you want
not
a
a problem.
4x4.
4x4.
Has to be the G63. I can't think of any other thing that comes close to that.
You don't prefer any offerings from Range, Land Rover?
Land Rover, first of all, I would not even touch that with a 10-foot pole, man. I mean, a G63 trumps them over. A Land Cruiser would come if you gave me a budget. But now you say there's no budget.
There's no budget.
Which means, I mean, I have compared the LX600. It's like 2 years ago, I did a comparison between LX600, Range Rover P530 SV autobiography, and G63 AMG. And I'm telling you, man, you get into the G63.
Are you saying in all
different.
metrics, in basically in power, in comfort,
We start with power, it trumps. We start with just the interior, just how it's done. Oh man, it's night and day. Oh, everything is just the leather, how it feels totally different. You know, they're using Napa leather, the others are using semi-aniline type of leather that feels more synthetic. But I would still say G63, Lexus, then the Range Rover. I know Mike now he's bored of LX600, but I would still.
So before we go to Mike, how much would that car brand new cost me in Kenya?
I mean, we mentioned one for 70 million. Why are you not listening?
That's the one from Dobby.
Yes, that's the one from Dobby.
So 70 million, you get it from Dobby.
Yes, you get it from Dobby. I think it would be.
But I doubt I would spend that.
With the 150.
Never ever.
He will still buy a 2020, 2021.
Probably I would get a 2018 even.
Yeah.
Because you know it's the same. It's
Same,
the same.
yeah.
It's the same.
But you know, funny thing, the 2018s are more even in Japan or even than a 2020 because that's when they started. So the demand.
So if we were to bring
how I always think is that Japanese are very smart people. They know that Kenyans are importing 2018s. Me always think Kenya has a very big influence on the prices for 2018 cars because how comes all the 2018 cars, you try to buy a 2018, it's higher than a 2019.
Yes.
Are you telling me these people don't know that we are buying 2018?
They know.
So the demand goes higher. Because Kenya is a very big importer market, you know?
So let me ask you, how much would it cost for the G63 to come here, 2018, 2019, clean?
Think about 30.
30 M.
Yeah.
So with the 150 euros a month we're making on YouTube, how long would it take us to maybe we're 200,000 subscribers?
I would pick up, bro.
Inshallah.
It gets there.
So I want to flip that question to you now.
Yeah, I think I'll consider either the new X5M competition.
He said a 4x4, man. Why are you?
That's a serious 4x4.
It's not a 4x4. No.
Kwani what's that?
No, it's
X5M.
all-wheel drive.
Put an
not a
X5.
4x4.
Is it a 4x4, guys?
That change is
Okay.
It's not a 4x4.
Okay, maybe that's a 4x4 to me. But because you see, actually looking at all the cars, personally, that's what I would want to buy.
True.
At maybe when I get to 40 years or maybe 45.
Okay.
Because looking at either that or the M50i, the new one, it's F4.
The new one is the F95.
Yes, that one.
Yes. That one.
That's the car. Like now, from if I go from Audi, chances are I'll go to Beamer. I know you're a Beamer guy.
I would. If we are talking all-wheel drive to toy 4x4, because you know
why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? One car you would buy, just one car to own.
Yes.
Forever.
No budget.
Yes.
What car would you buy? We can start with you.
I think.
By the way, in Kenya. Let's
in
say
Kenya.
So
But
take
no
it-
budget.
either the Cullinan.
Hmm.
I think either the Cullinan or Bentayga. One of them.
one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for
GT3 RS. We are not,
GT3
there's not even room for discussion for that.
Is the GT3 RS in
Yes.
Kenya? Yeah, the
No,
red
there's
one.
a GT3, not
G-
an
okay,
RS.
okay.
Yes.
Is that the one we saw in Dubai?
There's a,
no,
there's a
yeah, the
991 GT3 in Kenya and a 992 GT3 in Kenya.
but it's not an RS.
No, not an
Not an
RS.
RS.
Yes.
What's the difference between that and RS?
It's basically aerodynamics.
And you've driven it.
Power.
Right? You've
And the
Driven
carbon,
as regular
the
GT3.
carbon bits.
Yes, I'm yet to yeah. So a lot of carbon on the RS, but you can have the same. But the beauty about a GT3, you can have it in a manual transmission. You can't have that in a GT3 RS.
Can you see?
So for someone like me, I've always said if I would to start somewhere, I would go a GT3, then this is an RS. So basically, a GT3 will come with a smaller wing. Then you have a few things. You don't have this. This is from the 991 generation, for example. But I would get a GT3, then put the racing body kit that they have on the Carrera Cup. That body kit, but on a GT3 with a manual gearbox. So it will even be cooler than a
That
GT3
gearbox is
RS.
called what? It's not a
6-speed manual gearbox.
but it's not. What's the name? Is it a sequential or what?
No. It's a normal manual. It's a H pattern. Normal 6-speed manual gearbox. But on the GT3s now only PDK because now the torque goes higher.
You'd get a manual over PDK.
Bro,
Funny.
any day, man. Any day. I would always go when it comes to Porsches, I would always go manual. But obviously, when it comes to a GT3 RS, I'll be humble and say, you know what, it's a GT3 RS. Give me that PDK any day.
You know, we're speaking of Dubai. You can actually test drive these cars over there. I'd love.
You can, yes, you
I'd
can.
love
Any
to
car.
test drive them. It's probably $500 to $1,000 a day.
Unless now you have money just to throw the same way you guys are saying. You
Yeah.
need to have money.
In this hypothetical situation, we don't have a budget.
You don't have a budget, yeah.
Let's assume.
We can spend a lot.
What about you? Let's throw the question to you.
34.
Yes.
How many cars you can pick from?
It's a good
You know,
car.
the thing is, I've always wanted the G-Wagon, but the thing is, G-Wagon has become such a popular car, and you want that aspect where it's the only car I own.
Yes,
It's the only car I have.
You want the one of one bragging rights.
One bragging, right? Because that's why men want the pretty woman. That's why we want the car. It's the only one over here. I would probably have to go with something, maybe American muscle, something that I've not seen over here. I don't have a specific car. The R34, we have that in mind because no one really has it over here.
Yes.
But to get that over here, probably have to be very close to Ruto.
That's the only problem. Even the ones that are over here, they can't be out in the public.
Yeah. There was one GTT.
There's a guy that has it.
I think
What's
there's
his
an
name?
app
There's a
that
guy-
for GTR. There
No,
should
it was
be
a
one or
GTT,
two.
not a GTT.
Not the blue one. I think
There's a guy who has a blue one.
That's
right?
a GTT automatic. So
Oh yes.
So it's for Nani, for Prashil.
yeah, so I believe there should be at least one or two R34s in the country, but just
not
like
GTR.
no, should be an R. The only problem
Really?
is those cars can't be out in the public.
Why?
I mean, I don't have to tell you why.
I know.
No, why.
They come over here like
Yeah,
that.
so the only problem with that is, like I said, people want these cars. People can afford them, but we are not allowed to have them.
We're not allowed to.
So you push people to you've cornered people to a certain corner.
Yeah.
There's gonna be ways of bringing in those cars. You know, in the US, what people used to do is they actually chop up the cars in Japan.
And then
They
take them over there.
Yes, then they transplant them on a chassis that's not, let's say, a GTR,
Yeah.
and something that was
Becomes a
something else.
donor.
It becomes a donor. So you have a GTR with a chassis that is
Chassis.
Nissan,
Yeah.
and now the parts of a genuine GTR. So that was the only way.
It's a plug and play, whatever. It's no
It
modification.
depends on who is doing it. It should be plug and play, but it's a difficult thing.
Depends on the workmanship.
Yeah,
Workmanship.
yeah.
What about you, gents? What's the car? Vish, I know you very specific needs. Like any car that you take, no budget in mind. Bring it.
Still go for the RS7.
You're really obsessed with that car. Have you driven?
C7 or the C8? The newer ones or the previous
The
one?
new ones, but
The new ones.
C8.
Yeah.
Are they
Yeah,
good?
that's the C8.
Just
Kim?
Kim? The LC500. That's
Man, that's a car that's really good, but I felt they failed the car. They should just have called it an LCF because the F is always now the performance badge for Lexus. I felt they should have just called it like that and
Right.
sold it as instead of 500. It feels like a G500 versus G63, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not the top, even though it's the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kim, what about you, man?
See, we are in Kenya. So,
Money is not a problem.
So
there is this SUV, XC.
Oh, Eliza,
XC90.
Ah,
Okay.
Oh,
I
XC90.
think you've reviewed it, eh?
Yeah, XC90. I did a T6
So-
the XC90.
Yo, those cars, they're not coming anymore in the country. I'm telling you.
The duty is now too high.
Crazy.
One of the best. Honestly, people who are driving XC60s and XC90s, they are driving better cars than most German cars. And also in terms of options, those cars are really well equipped. If you get a full option XC60 or XC90, really good. But even the best part about it, the newer ones now from the facelift, XC90 for example is still undergoing facelifts. The design is just immaculate. When Germans are going, have you seen the new SQ5? How it looks like?
Yes.
It looks like a
SQ5.
It's like the Chinese have moved to designing better cars,
Yes.
while the Germans have moved to designing what Chinese used to design
Yes, I've seen.
5 years ago.
I've seen the 2025.
It doesn't look good. Then you look at the Volvo XC90 2025. My goodness, that car looks good.
Volvo, I've seen a
It
lot more
looks
people
good.
driving that around, and it's very solid cars. Eh?
Yes, we still don't have the 2025 because that will be the price of a Prado 250. But it's a good looking car. It's a good. Do we have a Volvo dealership in Kenya?
No, we used to have, but
Was it through Dobio?
They closed that. No, they were called. I can't remember. Was it Amazon or something?
Yeah,
We don't have direct dealerships over here, right?
No.
Okay.
Actually, most dealerships are around COVID time.
They
Most of them
suffered quite
went
a lot.
down,
They
yeah.
didn't survive.
Because there was one in town. I think it's still there, but it's more like not working 100%. Because there was one XC60, the previous generation. I took a client of mine to do service.
Yeah.
A lady that brought in that car and she had no idea about service. Nini to end up back then around it was a KCV, and it was working. They had some Volvo cars back in the showroom, but I don't think it's there anymore.
Okay.
For some reason, of course, the business is hard in
Yeah.
Kenya because even Sifao, they're saying things are not easy on them.
It's all over, man.
Yeah.
Even CMC, you've seen what's happened to them and all the changes.
Mobius, I think Mobius are coming back.
Mobius are coming back.
Say had that thing.
I am not aware of that.
Yeah, had there is an investor that came and put I think almost like half a billion.
Is that car worth it, really?
No, only Muzungus will drive them.
Anyway.
I prefer authentic Chinese cars like the ones we've been talking about.
I think those, if they start making a splash in the market,
are
people
good.
will
Any
be
other car,
genuinely
you see,
surprised.
because what happened is, especially the previous one, the first one was not even a 4x4.
Yeah,
It was like a 4x2 or something like that. It was a rear wheel drive car, so
Yeah.
you can't actually even take it off road. That first one. The second one came like a cheap replica of a Wrangler.
the first one.
The second
yeah.
one. And there's no authenticity in that kind of car.
It's just copycat.
But the kind of Chinese cars we've been talking about, we talk about BYD, GWM,
Jetman.
then the Jetua.
Yeah.
Those cars are authentic Chinese cars and they look good. They're sharing a lot of tech, just like how you used to go in a VW and you see it has the same tech as an Audi or something like that. So Chinese are also sharing the
a
same.
lot of
I've
the
noticed that the voice command system in the BYD is quite similar to what you find on the G2. Even the operating system, the way it just behaves, I could just tell it's the same thing,
Okay.
But then it gets to that point.
You know, the funny thing is, we can talk about cars like for hours on end. I wasn't really a car fanatic until I started meeting these guys. and then one of
we
our
need to set up. You need to ask 5-car garage.
Yes.
That is always the best way to put.
So as we wind things down, maybe that's a question for both of them. What's the best Actually, let me rephrase this.
Yes.
This is so we can clip it on Instagram, so it just comes.
Since Al already has
Yes,
his list.
yeah.
No, actually, I'm blank. Honestly, I'm blank on that.
Sasa, who wants to go first?
Mike, go
Right.
first.
5-car garage. Let's go.
I've never thought about it because I'm not a billionaire yet, but I think
Inshallah.
I can think about a few. I think to start the list, I think I can have what I just said, the Comp X5M. Then I can get something like what? Like an LX 500D. I think I've sold many petrols, but I think I liked the kick on the diesel for some reason.
Okay.
I think have you reviewed the diesel, the 500D? You've driven
No,
it?
no. Which one?
The Lexus LX 500D.
I have not reviewed it. I've not even driven it. But, yes,
I like
but I've
the
seen
kick.
them. I've seen
I like
quite
the
a few.
kick on the D.
Yes.
So I think I can have the X5M for just the look. It looks really good, the new one. Then the LX will be maybe my daily. Then I think I can consider something like is it a Targa 4S, the Porsche, the one with
Porsche,
the
yes.
that one, and then the fourth one, I think I can go with something like the G400. For some reason, I sold a G63 kitambo sana, and the client keeps complaining about the gas up to today. So I'm not sure. And that is a really moneyed guy. So I'm
Should
not
have
sure.
bought a 400D.
So he keeps saying, this car inakunywa mafuta, can you find me a buyer, nini. So but I think I like the G400D. I'm just talking out of experience on the cars that I've sold.
Right.
Then I think the last one on the list, I think a Y62.
Y62, which one is that?
The Patrol.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's these about 70, 80 million or 100 million plus.
Yeah, that, way past that. Yes.
Sasa, Earl,
Yes.
5-car garage. Let's go.
5-car garage. I would still start with a GT3 RS, 992 GT3 RS. I would go all the way to the US for a Dodge Viper ACR. I love those. Then I would go back to Germany for an E046 M3 CSL. I love that car.
This guy can
That's a
prepare.
classic.
And yeah, that's
a dope car.
a
classic.
modern classic. I would call
modern
it a
classic.
modern classic.
Those ones are still on sale.
No, I mean not new. You can find them on the market.
Yeah.
I would go with a G63 for a daily because I love that car, one SUV. And for the 5th car, I am really not a Ferrari person, so I'm struggling to add a Ferrari into that.
SF90.
SF90 would never go on there, honestly. Of all the Ferraris I would have, it would probably be on the list. You know, I do love the Ferrari 458 Special. It's the last Ferrari with a naturally aspirated V8, and it sounds absolutely good. So probably that would be the only Ferrari on my list.
Beautiful list, man. That's now with your house in Europe somewhere in Switzerland.
I mean, if even Kenya, if the policies are well.
Now wakitengeneza Sari Center roundabouts, sindio?
Yes. You know.
But gents, I appreciate you guys coming.
No, I mean, go on.
Maybe I'm not okay. R34 in black, 34 in blue.
5 and 34.
Yes.
And need to be V-spec.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see which I mean R34 for sure, that would definitely be there. The G63 is a car that obviously I've been really fascinated with. Which is the other one? Well, my Kuzo had an FQ, I think it was 300? Evo. Just he had a nice yellow one. That was the first time when I sat in a car when the down valve goes as a kid, I was pushed back.
POVs.
Yeah, just purely from memory, I'll do that. My first car that I ever drove and I had an accident in because it was so fast was a Nissan SX200. So and you know the drift heavy,
yes.
because it's drift heavy and that time Tokyo Drift was going, but they've just admitted that it was me that caused the accident, not the neighbor. Then which other one? Probably an American Muscle, Supernatural, the Chevy Impala that they have. Yes, maybe even a 1970 Mustang. How many cars are we at?
That's 5.
That's 5.
That's 5.
Yeah.
Apana, see, I'm the podcast host. I'm and then basically, you know what the terrorists use for Land Cruisers?
Yeah.
A car that can take you anywhere. A 60 series, the HD60 Land Cruiser.
Wow, that's a good. Be ready for a repair bill. and good luck finding parts.
No, but I appreciate you gents coming. This is one of many. Where can people find
the books?
Where can people find you guys? Mike, let's start with you.
On my all socials at Mike Manani _imports.
Yes.
Yeah, find us there. Check our work. Reach out. We'll be free to assist in any way we can.
Perfect. Al?
He doesn't need to say.
Yeah. We'll just put Al's details.
I'm online also.
Yes.
Mr. Cabbage Man.
Mr. Cabbage Man.
In the nearest market.
Yes. But we'll link Earl and Mike's details in the description. Also, the new studio where we're at, we'll link everything in the description.
Yes,
Vision
please
Team,
tell them
Akatsuki
we
Studios.
should be charging for this studio.
Yes.
For people who are looking to do podcasts,
yes.
This is it. How much are you charging?
15K if you want to rent out this studio.
Ed, you're doing
This to buy the RS7,
Yes.
so we need to
Yes.
help him get.
Vish, what's the name of the studio? Radical Studios. Again, we'll link them
Yes.
in the description. We'll link Vish Akatsuki Studio.
And you get free
Kim, incredibly.
You
We'll
get
link
free
everyone.
sweets.
But thanks, guys. We appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one.